The night is soft around you. It doesn't ask for anything. It doesn't pull you forward or back. It simply waits the way still water waits beneath a full moon. And here you and I meet again, not to explain, but to listen. Not to solve, but to soften. Let this be a night of return. If the world has worn you thin, if your heart has carried questions too heavy to name, let this moment be your exhale. You are safe. You are welcome. You are not alone. Even the people who once left you with silence arrived for a reason, and you don't need to understand it. You only need to lie still now and allow something deeper to open without effort, without thought. Tonight we begin with the simplest truth. People don't enter your life by chance, and when you rest in this, you begin to feel the threads, soft, invisible, that have pulled you gently into every meeting, every parting, every quiet glance that changed the direction of your day. The monk once said, "We meet others not on the path, but as the path." There was once a woman who wandered through a storm for 3 days. She sought shelter in a distant monastery, hoping to be left alone. Instead, the abbot greeted her at the gate and whispered, "Your silence has been heard for longer than your voice has spoken." He had never seen her before, but he knew her. Because what pulls us together is not sight, but resonance. You don't need to explain why someone stayed, or why they left, or why they came only once and never again. They arrived because something in your soul called to them, and maybe something in theirs needed to be heard. Now lie still. Let your hands soften. Let your breath move slowly in and out like the rhythm of memory. Not to think, but to feel the shape of your own presence. This story, your story, is unfolding perfectly, and the people within it are not mistakes. Some will be chapters, some only a single line. But each of them writes something essential. You don't need to know what it is tonight. You only need to feel the peace of knowing it mattered. And so do you. There's a moment, subtle, unspoken, when someone enters your life, and nothing outside changes, but everything inside does. A glance exchanged on a train. A question asked at just the right moment. A kindness left behind like a footprint that never fades. These are not coincidences. They are awakenings. The old monk once walked through a village and greeted every stranger with the same words, "Thank you for arriving when I forgot what mattered." Sometimes the people we meet do not stay. Sometimes they only pass through us like wind through trees, like moonlight on water. But in passing, they stir something, and what they stir is often not peace, but remembrance. Not of who they are, but of who we were meant to be. Some people bring lessons so quiet, you only hear them in your dreams. Others bring storms that clear the branches of all that was dead. There was a traveler who asked the master why certain people caused pain if they were meant to arrive. The master poured 2 cups of tea and said 1 cup burns, the other heals, but the same steam rises from both. You don't have to understand who brought healing and who brought heat. You only have to notice. You are softer now. You are more awake. You have let go of things that once gripped your sleep. Let the breath come slowly. Not to control it, but to recognize it. Someone taught you how to breathe like this. Someone reminded you how to stop rushing towards sleep and instead to allow it to come find you. Perhaps it was the one who stayed. Perhaps it was the one who left. But either way, they came for a reason. And now in this stillness, you begin to feel it, the quiet imprint of every presence, the way certain words still echo, the way certain silences still glow. You are not haunted, you are held by the invisible threads of everyone who ever saw you when you forgot how to see yourself. People don't enter your life by chance. They arrive with messages you didn't know you were waiting for. Some speak them aloud, some never speak at all. But their presence writes itself across the story you're still unfolding, not to complete it, but to remind you that no story is ever truly alone. And neither are you, so lie back. Let the back of your head rest heavier into the pillow. Let the chest rise and fall like waves that forgot how to crash. You do not need to reach for meaning. Meaning arrives when the mind stops naming it. Let tonight be for that, for the space where nothing needs to be figured out, for the warmth that lingers after everyone has gone, for the truth that sometimes the people who arrive and leave the fastest leave the deepest roots behind. And your life even now is full of such roots. You are not empty. You are woven. There is no need to trace the thread. You don't have to recall who arrived first, who stayed the longest, who hurt the deepest. The thread knows. It's woven through your spine now. It glows softly beneath your skin. It hums when you lie still like this. You were never meant to carry the meaning of every encounter. You were meant to be changed by them quietly, gently, like a stone in a river that does not notice its edges smoothing over time. There was a man who swept the same garden path for 30 years. When asked why he did not move on, he said, "Because each time I sweep, the wind arrives differently. Each meeting is that wind. Some bring petals, some bring dust. But all of them help clear the path. Let the breath be soft. Let the exhale lengthen just a little, not to calm you, but to show you that you are already calm." You've met people who carried stories too big for words. They never told you why they wept or laughed or left, but their story pressed gently against yours and changed its shape forever. And even now, as your body lies still, some part of you remembers them. Not the face, not the name, just the message. You needed what they offered, even if it was only for a breath. The monk once said, "When someone touches your life, it is because their life needed your shape. You were shaped by them, but you shaped them too. You do not need to go back. You do not need to hold on. You only need to lie still enough to feel the echo of what they gave you. A word, a silence, a farewell, a glance. It is all written in your breath now, and your breath is enough. It always was. Even before they came, even after they left. Even the ones who hurt you came with purpose, not to damage but to reveal. Pain isn't a punishment. It's a mirror. You looked into it and saw the parts of yourself that had been hidden, your boundaries, your longing, your capacity to forgive. There was a boy who asked the master why the kindest people often suffered most. The master replied, "Because they were given soft hands to carry fire." The world learns from the ones who don't burn others in return. You didn't burn anyone. Even in your anger, even in your ache, you tried to be kind. That matters. That still matters. Let that be your permission to rest now. You are not the wounds you carry. You are the healing that stayed behind. The breath is slower now. There's a weight in the air, not heavy, just full. Full of what was said. Full of what wasn't. Full of the quiet understanding that some meetings are meant to break you open so you can finally let the light in. You've let it in, and it's here now, warming your chest, softening your hands, folding around your shoulders like a silence that loves you. You do not need to rehearse the conversations again. You do not need to solve what never made sense. Some people taught you how to stay, some taught you how to leave, and some taught you how to return to yourself. The monk once wrote a single word in the sand and waited for the tide to wash it away. A student asked what it meant. He said, the lesson is not the word, it's the washing. Let yourself be washed now. Let the breath take you. Let the past slip from your hands like water that never belonged to you. There is nothing more to hold. There is nothing more to hold, and nothing holding you back. Only the hush of what remains when all the names have faded and all the stories have been laid to rest. You are not made of the people who stayed. You are not made of the people who left. You are made of the space that welcomed them all, even when you were tired, even when you were afraid, even when you didn't know how to say yes or no. That space is still here. That space is still you. There was a traveler who came to the monastery carrying 3 heavy stones. He asked the master if he should leave them at the gate. The master said, only if you've learned what they taught you while you carried them. You've carried people like that. And yes, some were heavy. Some made your back ache. Some were harder to carry than you could admit. But you did, and now it's safe to place them down. Not with resentment, not with regret, just with a breath, a long one. One that rises slowly through the belly and falls through the ribs like a bow being untied. You are not what happened between you. You are what endured after it. You are what forgave or tried to. You are what learned how to rest in the quiet, even when no one else stayed long enough to offer it to you. But rest is here now, and it asks nothing of you. Not healing, not closure, not understanding, just softness, just silence, just this, just this. The warmth beneath your ribs, the slow breath that no longer tries to deepen, the sense that nothing is missing even if everything once was. You don't need to go back to explain anything. You don't need to rewrite the endings. You don't need to find better beginnings. Some people were meant to be questions. Some were meant to be echoes, and some were meant to be lanterns you carried only long enough to find your way through the dark. The monk once lit a candle in an empty room and said, "This is how we remember those who never stayed long enough to sit beside us. We keep their flame, but not their shadow. Let the shadows go now, the shapes of what could have been, the outlines of unsaid words, the silhouettes of hands you once reached for in your dreams. They're not needed here, not where your body is this still, not where your mind has finally quieted, not where your breath is so gentle you've forgotten where it begins. You are not meant to carry everyone with you, but you are meant to carry the wisdom they left behind. It's in you now. The soft way you speak to yourself, the way you wait before responding, the way you leave space for others to be real even when it's messy. You didn't learn that alone. Someone came to teach it. Someone came to reflect it, even if only once. Even if only in silence. Even if they've long since disappeared. They mattered, and because they did, you can rest now. You can rest now. Because the work is over. Not the work of the day, but the quiet labor of carrying everyone you once loved in the corners of your heart. They can sleep now too, the ones who hurt you. The ones you never got to say goodbye to. The ones who made you laugh so fully that your breath caught in your chest. They're still here, not in memory, but in the stillness that surrounds you. There was a young monk who asked, "Why do I still feel the presence of those who have gone?" The teacher placed a cup of tea beside him and said, "Because love doesn't end. It just changes rooms. Let that be your room now, not a memory, not a shrine, but a space wide enough to let everyone go and still feel whole, because you are. You are not a half waiting to be filled. You are not a door waiting to be knocked on. You are not a question waiting to be answered. You are the breath between all of it. You are the pause after the lesson. You are the quiet that stayed long after the conversation ended. And here in this quiet, you are finally free to stop holding everything together. The threads will not break. They were never yours to weave. They were already woven by time, by chance, by whatever invisible kindness pulled you and them into the same moment. Let that be enough. Let the past dissolve. Let the names soften. Let sleep come like someone you loved once, returning not to stay, but just to sit with you a while, until you don't notice they've gone. Because you've gone too into the place where no one ever really leaves. Into the place where no one ever really leaves. Not because they stay in your thoughts, but because they helped build the silence you now rest inside. The monk once stood in the center of a dark temple and said, "There is no need to light a candle. The memory of fire is enough to keep us warm. You are warm now, not from blankets, not from walls, but from everything you once shared with those who passed through your life. Some gave you laughter, some gave you pain, some gave you nothing but the realization that you deserved more. Each gift made you more real, more human, more still, and stillness is what welcomes you now. You don't have to brace against anything. You don't have to prepare for what might come. Nothing is coming. Only this soft, constant breath, this quiet, open presence, this space where everything you've learned is finally allowed to rest. Let the body feel heavier, not with weight, but with peace. Let the face soften. Let the chest forget to rise for a moment longer than before. There is no story left to finish, no moment left to replay, no person left to hold tightly. Everyone who needed to meet you did, and everyone who didn't was never meant to. There's a kind of grace in that. A grace that doesn't ask you to understand, only to release. Let the releasing happen now. Not as an action, but as a forgetting. Forget the trying. Forget the timelines. Forget the noise. You are not missing anything. The people who left did not take the best of you with them. They left something behind, something that's grown quiet and strong in the way you now breathe, the way you now love, the way you now sleep. The way you now sleep, It wasn't always this easy. There were nights your thoughts ran like rivers searching for answers in places where only questions lived. There were nights you missed people who were never really yours to keep. But now you no longer need to hold them to feel what they gave you. The monk once said real love doesn't stay in the name. It stays in the silence that follows after. You're in that silence now. And it is wide, wider than memory, wider than longing, wider than the versions of you that once reached out and found only distance. Those versions are still here too, not aching, not ashamed, just resting beside you like shadows at dusk. They have nothing more to ask. They are ready to sleep too, so breathe. Let the inhale return slowly. Let the exhale stay just a little longer. Let your body continue its soft disappearing into the night, not as an escape, but as a return. You are returning to the part of you that never needed to chase. The part that trusted presence over permanence. The part that knew people don't enter your life by mistake, even the ones who left you without closure, even the ones who arrived too soon or stayed too long. They were all part of the thread. You've felt it, haven't you? The strange way a stranger's words stayed with you for years. The small act of kindness that changed your entire direction. The goodbye that taught you how to say yes. Let all of that rest now. It does not need your effort anymore. Just your softness, just your breath, just this. Quiet. Just this. Quiet. Unfolding across your chest like a second heartbeat, slower, deeper, older than the one you were born with. You don't need to name it. It doesn't need to be named. It was here long before the people came. And it will be here long after they've all gone. But for now you can thank them. Not aloud, not in words, just with your stillness. The monk once touched a falling leaf and whispered, "Gratitude does not cling. It bows." You are bowing now, without movement, without thought, just by resting, just by being. You are bowing to the presence of every soul who wandered into your world and touched something that needed waking. You are bowing to the ones who hurt you, who unknowingly held a mirror to the part of you that was ready to heal. You are bowing to the fleeting, the permanent, the confusing, the unforgettable. You are bowing to yourself, the one who stayed through all of it. And this breath, this one right here, it is not just yours. It is shaped by every word you've spoken in love, by every silence you've honored in sorrow, by every goodbye you didn't want to give but gave anyway. You don't have to hold any of it anymore. You are not the weight of your past. You are the space that remains after the weight is set down. Let yourself be that space now. Let the inhale slip away unnoticed. Let the exhale fall like a feather from your lips. Let the next moment arrive without reaching for it. There is no reaching here. There is no arriving. There is only this long, low tide of rest and the deep peace that comes from knowing you were never alone. Not even once. Not even once. Even in solitude. Even in heartbreak. Even in the quietest moments when you thought no one could see you, someone did. Maybe not with their eyes. Maybe not with their presence. But with something deeper. Something that recognized you across the silence. The monk once told a student, "There are people you meet only once, but they bow to you in every life. You have met those people, and they have met you. Not all of them stayed, but they left something, a gentleness, a shift, a truth that lingers long after the words have vanished. You carry them now, not as memory, but as presence, not as longing, but as stillness. Let that stillness carry you. There's no need to remember every face, no need to make sense of every ending. Let the edges blur. Let the timeline fade. The story has already done its work. You don't need to turn the pages. You can simply close the book and rest your hands on the cover, knowing that something beautiful was written there. And if tears came, they watered something. And if laughter came, it echoed through someone else's darkness like a bell. Nothing was wasted. Let your body trust that now. Let your shoulders fall, your back sink deeper, your jaw soften without asking why. This is not forgetting. This is integration. This is what happens when the soul stops resisting its own path and begins to feel how perfectly everything arrived. Even the goodbyes, even the silence, even the ones who never said what they meant. It was all part of the unfolding, and now you can let it be. Because now you are finally free. You are finally free. Not because everything is resolved, but because it no longer needs to be. Not because the questions were answered, but because you've stopped needing answers to rest. You rest now because you remember presence doesn't depend on permanence. And love doesn't depend on staying. It flows. It pauses. It returns in different shapes. Sometimes as people. Sometimes as breath. Sometimes as a quiet you didn't expect to feel so complete. The monk once sat beside a crumbling wall and said, "This too held us once." Let us bow to what no longer stands. You bow now, not in ritual, not in sorrow, but in gratitude for what shaped you and passed through. There is nothing to fix. Some people came to help you build, some came to help you break, and some came to remind you that even in stillness, you are being shaped. And now here you are, breathing without effort, resting without resistance, welcoming sleep not as a destination, but as a companion who waited patiently at the edge of your awareness. No more reaching, no more remembering, no more need. Your body is quiet. Your breath is a whisper. Your story is still unfolding, but for now it can rest. Let the night hold you. Let every name you ever whispered in love dissolve into peace. Let every goodbye soften into light. Let every arrival return not in form, but in the feeling that you are deeply, truly, not alone, not now, not ever, not now, not ever, because what touched you stays, not in the form it came in, but in what it left behind. A new way you speak to yourself, a softer way you touch the world. The ones who entered your life even briefly left fingerprints on the inside of your breath. And now each breath is their gift carried forward in silence. The monk once watched snow fall onto an empty bench. He turned to his student and said, "Even the seats we leave become altars. You have altars like that, not with candles, not with incense, but with memories so gentle they no longer ache. They only glow. You don't have to revisit them. They will revisit you. When the heart is still, when the mind is soft, when the body lies down and forgets what it meant to hold anything at all. Like now, let the bed be a cradle. Let the breath be the ocean. Let the night be the presence that speaks without voice. There is no task, no intention, no goal left to reach. Just breath, just warmth, just the soft pulse of being. Let it move through you. Let it hold what no one else could. Let it tell you wordlessly that everything arrived in its time and everyone left in theirs. You are not late to anything. You are not early. You are simply here. And here is where everything you ever needed has already passed through. Now let what remains carry you deeper, softer, nowhere at all. Only here, only this. Only the stillness that began when you stopped searching and finally let yourself rest. Finally, let yourself rest. Not as a reward, not as an ending, but as a return to the part of you that was never waiting. The people you've loved, they didn't pass through to complete you. They came to reflect something you already were, something you had forgotten, something only their presence could gently uncover, a kindness, a strength, a truth. Some stayed long enough for you to see it clearly. Some vanished before you knew what they meant. But now, under the quiet weight of this night, you begin to feel it. They didn't take anything from you. They revealed what you still carry. The monk once sat with a student who had been abandoned. The student asked, "Why did they leave me?" And the master replied, "They didn't leave you. They gave you back to yourself. And so you were returned. Each goodbye brought you closer, not to them, but to the soft center of your own breath. And here in this breath, nothing is missing. Nothing is broken. The people who passed through left seeds. Some grew slowly. Some bloomed without notice. Some are just now beginning to open as your body softens, as your eyes close, as your chest rises one last time before sleep forgets it. You are not alone. You are not empty. You are not waiting. You are surrounded, not by presence, not by memory, but by meaning, and meaning once planted never truly leaves. So let your breath stay shallow. Let your limbs grow still. Let the silence widen until it holds even your dreams. You are here. You are held. And everything that touched you, everyone that found you, did so for a reason. And that reason needs no explanation. Only rest. Only rest. Because the story doesn't need to continue tonight. Because the lesson has already arrived, wrapped in silence, delivered through presence, made visible by your willingness to be still. You've heard enough. You've carried enough. You've opened enough. Now it's time to let the opening close gently. Not shut, but soften like petals folding back into themselves before dawn. The monk once watched a candle go out on its own. He smiled and said, "The flame didn't end. It remembered how to rest." You are remembering now, not what they said, not what happened, but how it felt, to be known, to be seen, to be shaped by contact that needed no explanation. That's what they gave you. Not permanence, but presence. The ones who stayed, the ones who didn't. The ones who passed like wind through a room you didn't know needed airing. You are still breathing in the air they left behind. It is clean, it is yours, and it no longer hurts to breathe it. Let the body remain still. Let the breath become nothing but rhythm. Let the thoughts lose their edges until they are no longer thoughts, only echoes fading like footsteps into mist. There is nowhere left to go, no one left to reach, no meaning left to seek, only this, the quiet that was always waiting beneath the noise, the peace that lived beneath the longing, the wholeness that never needed a name. This is where you begin again, without effort, without fear, without memory. And if you dream, may they come like soft lanterns floating downstream, not calling you forward, not pulling you back, just illuminating the truth that every encounter was a doorway, and each time you walked yourself closer to home, closer to home. And now that you're here, fully arrived, fully quiet, you don't need to knock. You don't need to be let in. You've always belonged, not because you were chosen, not because you proved anything, but because you were simply here. The monk once stood in a garden after a long winter and whispered, "Nothing asked the blossoms to return. They simply did." You too are blooming again, not outwardly, not with noise, but inwardly in the slow unfolding of peace that only stillness allows. You've made it through seasons of leaving, of watching others go, of wondering what you did wrong. But now in this dark, that does not judge, that does not rush you, understand. They didn't leave you. They completed what they came to do, and so did you. Whatever love you gave, whatever tenderness you offered, whatever part of yourself you trusted someone else to see it wasn't wasted, it became part of them. And even if they never told you, they carry it, just as you carry what they gave you knowingly or not, kindly or not, briefly or forever. Let your body remember that it is safe now, that nothing more is required, that every connection, even the ones that unraveled, wove something sacred in you. There is no regret here, no need to revisit, just breath, just stillness, just the soft, unspoken knowing that you were never alone in the unfolding. Not one person entered your life by accident, and now that you've come home to that truth, you can sleep, not to forget, not to escape, but to return to the deeper place where everyone you've ever met has already bowed to you and said, "Thank you for being exactly who you were when I arrived. Exactly who you were when I arrived. That's all you ever needed to be. Not more, not less, not wiser, not quieter. Just yourself as you were in that moment." And that was enough. You see it now. Not with the mind, but with the breath, with the way the body relaxes without instruction, with the way the chest opens without demand. There is no effort left in you. No reaching, no rehearsing, no hoping for a different ending, because this stillness is the ending, and also the beginning. There was a traveler who asked the master, "Will I meet them again?" The master looked up at the sky and said, "If your heart has stayed open, you already have. You've already met them again. In kindness shown to strangers, in the gentleness with which you now speak to yourself, in the breath you offer freely even when no one is there to witness it. Every person gave you something, and you gave something in return. Even if it was unspoken, Even if it was unfinished, let it remain unfinished. Let it remain open, because open things breathe. And breathing is what brings you back to the center, to the soft, wordless part of you that knows how to rest. Not because the world is quiet, but because you've become quiet in the world. You are not waiting for the next moment. You are not preparing for the next dream. You are simply here, and here is sacred. You do not need sleep to hold you. You do not need memory to define you. You do not need another person to complete you. You only need this silence, and it is already yours. Already yours, not borrowed, not promised, not given conditionally, but always here beneath the noise, beneath the ache, beneath the questions that never needed answers to dissolve. The monk once walked through a field of tall grass and said, "No one planted this. And yet, it grows." So it is with peace. You don't always need to cultivate it. Sometimes you only need to get quiet enough to notice it was already blooming. Let it bloom now, in the space between your thoughts, in the weightless pause between your breaths, in the warmth you feel with no clear source. This is the peace that follows no rules. It arrives when the body is soft, when the heart no longer clenches for closure, when the soul begins to trust its own timing. You trusted, didn't you? Even when you were unsure, even when others came and left like wind through a paper door, you stayed open, and that openness is why you can rest now, because you did the work, the quiet work no one saw, the invisible strength it takes to welcome people in, to let them leave, and to stay soft anyway. Let that softness expand now. Let it rise through your ribs. Let it settle behind your eyes. Let it blanket every moment that once felt too heavy to carry. You're not carrying anymore. You're not holding the past. You're not bracing for what's next. You're just breathing, just being, just lying open in the gentle truth that every encounter, even the briefest, was a part of your unfolding. Not perfect, not permanent, but true and enough and over and still living in you. Still living in you, not as weight, not as burden, but as warmth, as a quiet hum beneath your breath, as a presence that asks for nothing but to be allowed to rest with you. You are not made of endings. You are not defined by who stayed or who left. You are made of what remained, the strength, the softness, the silent understanding that each person who entered your life was a note in the song you're still learning to hear. And you are learning to hear it now. Not with your ears, but with your stillness, with your slowness, with the calm unfolding of a body that no longer needs to prepare for the next moment. There was a teacher who once told his students, "Do not cling to people. Cling to the way they made you more yourself. You have become more yourself, not in a rush, not with force, but in the way water shapes stone slowly, imperceptibly, yet completely. Let your thoughts drift now, not away, just wider, like smoke, like fog on the surface of a lake at dawn. You don't need to name anything. You don't need to close the loop. Let it stay open, let it breathe, let it disappear, because what's meant for you doesn't hold on tight. It stays in the way your chest rises, in the way you forgive more easily now, in the way you rest without permission. Every person was a mirror. Some showed you beauty, some showed you wounds. All of them showed you something true, and now that truth has settled. It doesn't need remembering, only honoring, only sleep, only this, this stillness that doesn't ask questions, this breath that asks for nothing but your softness, this quiet that holds everything you've ever needed, not in words, but in presence. You've reached the part of the night where even memory dissolves, where names are too heavy and thoughts too loud to stay. But what stays, what gently glows behind closed eyes, is the peace that all those meetings left behind. There was a student who asked, "Will I ever be untouched by others again?" And the master smiled, "No." And that is your freedom. You are not untouched. You are not untethered. You are not alone. You are a collection of moments passed from soul to soul, not owned, not kept, not claimed, just shared. You were shaped, but never lost. And even now, as you lie in the silence between stories, something in you hums with the quiet music of connection. Some came to stay. Some came to leave. Some came only to remind you how deep you were capable of feeling. Let yourself feel nothing now. Let even feeling sleep. Let the body become soft earth. Let the breath become wind through tall grass. Let the heart beat slowly, not from effort, but from release. You have done enough. You have welcomed enough. You have been brave enough to open again and again to a world that never promised to stay. And still you loved, you trusted, you received. Now receive this, the night, the breath, the stillness that no longer separates you from anything or anyone. It's all here, and you are finally completely, beautifully home. Home. Not a place, not a person, not even a memory. Home is the way your chest no longer braces, the way your thoughts no longer pace in circles, the way your breath sinks deeper without asking permission, as if the body finally believes it's safe. You are safe, not because everything makes sense, but because nothing has to tonight. The monk once walked into a quiet hall, placed his hand on the floor and said, "This is where I am. That is enough. You don't have to find meaning in every moment. You don't have to make peace with every ending. You don't have to call back every name. You're allowed to rest without resolution. You're allowed to let go of the hands you once reached for in dreams. You're allowed to close your eyes and trust that what shaped you did so without error, even if it left, even if it never came back. Let the breath continue, not because it must, but because it's free. Let the body soften the way petals close at night, naturally, without thinking, without trying to stay open just a little longer. You don't need to hold the door anymore. You don't need to wait for anyone else to return. They gave you what they came to give, and now what remains is yours to keep, not as weight, but as warmth, as wisdom, as the quiet knowing that even if they didn't stay, you did. You stayed with yourself. You stayed kind. You stayed open. And that is why sleep finds you now with such tenderness. Because you didn't close your heart to survive. You let it become soft enough to carry everything you were given and still know how to rest. Still know how to rest. Even after the heartbreak, even after the silence, even after the echoes that lingered long past their voices, you're not resting despite those things. You're resting because of them, because you made it through, because you kept your soul open long enough for grace to find its way back in. The monk once watched a flower bloom from a crack in the stone wall and whispered, "Even here something knew how to open." You opened when it was easier to close. You forgave when the world gave you every reason not to. You stayed kind, gentle, present, even when it hurt, and now that pain has left. Not completely, but enough to stop asking for your attention. You don't owe it anything. You don't owe your past anything. Only breath, only presence. Only this stillness that has waited for you beneath every moment of noise. Let it have you now. Let your hands lie open. Let your face go slack. Let your thoughts scatter like dust in evening light, weightless without urgency. You're not missing anything anymore. Not anyone. Not any version of yourself. Everything that was meant to touch you did, and everything you were meant to become, you already are. This is not a night for remembering. This is a night for dissolving, for returning to the part of you that needs no story to be whole. Let the breath become smaller than a whisper. Let the body become softer than silence. Let sleep come without edges. You are not letting go now. You are simply being held by all that ever mattered and all that never needed to be explained. All that never needed to be explained. That's what stays with you, not the facts, not the endings, not the what or the why, just the quiet weight of presence and the gentle imprint left by those who once walked beside your soul, even if only for a single breath. The monk once said some connections are not meant to last. They are meant to awaken, and you have awakened, not in a way that needs light, not in a way that needs clarity, but in the soft, unseen way. A field awakens after a long winter, roots deep petals quiet the soil, not asking for anything but time. You've given yourself that time. You're giving it now. With every breath that falls lighter, with every part of your body that no longer flinches at the memory of leaving or being left. You don't have to hold anyone's hand tonight. You don't have to retell the story. You don't even have to remember it. Just be still. Let the ache untangle. Let the love remain. Let the silence speak what words could never carry. You are not alone. Even in this quiet, especially in this quiet, because what remains with you was never a person or a moment. It was the truth beneath them that you were worthy of being met, of being seen, of being felt. And you were, and you are. Now let that truth be enough. Let it rock you gently. Let it dim the last of your thoughts. Let it guide you wordlessly into the deepest sleep you've ever known, not as an escape, but as a homecoming to yourself. To peace, to rest, to rest. Not the kind that comes after exhaustion, not the kind that arrives with the weight of collapse, but the kind that rises from within, like mist from still water, like breath that no longer asks where it belongs. You are that breath now. You are the softness after the storm, the calm that doesn't need to prove itself. Nothing needs to happen. You've already received what every soul came to give, even the ones who gave you silence, even the ones who gave you pain. Their offering is complete, and now yours is too, because your presence was also a gift. Your listening, your honesty, the way you stayed open even when it was hard. Let that count. The monk once touched the center of his own chest and said, "When the world forgets, remember here." You're remembering now. Not names, not details. Just the quiet pulse of truth beneath all the stories. That you have always mattered. That your kindness was not unnoticed. That your presence left something behind in everyone you ever met, and they left something in you too. You are not made of separations. You are made of threads woven through time, through touch, through breath. And now those threads relax. They do not fray. They do not tangle. They simply fall into place. And you fall with them not downward but inward, into the space that has never needed to be filled. Into the silence that welcomes everything and calls nothing by name. There is nothing left to do. No more people to wait for. No more proving. No more remembering. Only this. Only breath. Only stillness. Only the quiet return to the part of you that has always known how to sleep. The part of you that has always known how to sleep. It doesn't ask for rituals. It doesn't wait for permission. It simply arrives when everything else becomes quiet enough to let it through. And everything is quiet now. Even the memories, even the heart, even the edges of your body which once held so tightly to the world have softened. You are not fading. You are not forgetting. You are remembering what it means to be untouched by hurry, by thought, by needing. The monk once placed a single grain of rice in his hand and said, "This is all I carry tonight. And even this, I will let go of." Let go now, not because you must, not because you should, but because everything that held you upright has finally allowed you to lie down, to rest, to be nobody for a while. You don't need a name where you are going. You don't need a past to justify your peace. You don't need a future to make this moment complete. It already is. You've returned to a place beneath story, beneath identity, beneath the rhythm of questions. And here you are held, not by hands, not by others, but by the stillness you once sought in them. It was always inside you. They just helped you see it. They helped you hear it. They helped you remember. And now, you do. So sleep, not to escape, but to arrive more fully in the place that needs nothing and offers everything. The place that does not end. The place that began before anyone ever came. The place that has been waiting just for you, not as a reward, not as a conclusion, but as a quiet truth that's been here all along, waiting for the noise to settle, for the heart to soften, for the breath to grow still enough to hear it. You hear it now, not as sound, but as presence, the kind that doesn't ask to be noticed. The kind that doesn't ask at all. It simply remains, like the hush after a bell has rung, like the warmth left in the room after someone you loved has left. like the part of you that stayed open, even when you thought you had closed for good. There was a monk who at the end of every day would bow to the floor and whisper, "Thank you for letting me live this life with all its visitors." You've had your visitors. Some stayed, some vanished, some turned everything upside down. But all of them, every single one, offered you the chance to meet yourself more fully, to soften, to grow, to pause in places you never would have found alone. And now, with nothing more to carry you, pause here. Not on a path, not at a door, but in the vastness of rest itself. This is what you've been walking toward even when you didn't know it. Even when you were holding on. Even when it hurt. The holding is over. The journey is complete. And what's left is enough. So let your breath dissolve into the dark. Let your thoughts dissolve into stillness. Let yourself dissolve into sleep, not to disappear, but to become everything you've touched and everything that ever touched you. All of it, resting now. With you. In you. As you. As you. Not as something separate from the night, but as the night itself. Not as someone falling asleep, but as sleep finally remembering where it belongs. There is no distance anymore. No longing, no need. Only presence, only breath, only the vast, soft quiet that gently cradles everything you've been and everything you've released. You are not reaching for dreams. You are not drifting through memories. You are still, and in that stillness, you are whole. There is no ending to this softness, no arrival to this peace. Only the gentle unfolding of what has always been yours. The monk once stood under a full moon and said nothing at all, and still everyone who sat beside him understood. This is that moon. This is that silence. This is that moment that doesn't ask to be named because it has already become everything. No more searching. No more asking. No more stories to tell yourself about what should have been or what could still be. It is all here, in the rise of your chest, in the stillness of your hands, in the warmth behind your eyes that are no longer watching for anything. You are not waiting. You are not hoping. You are simply resting in the deep truth that the people who entered your life, whether they stayed or left, whether they whispered or stayed silent, all bowed in their own way. And now it is your turn to bow to the night, to the peace, to the quiet within you that never needed to be found, only remembered. So rest, and if sleep comes, let it. And if it doesn't, know this stillness is enough. Because so are you, so are you. Not because of who stayed, not because of who left, but because of the way you remained gentle through it all. There's nothing more to prove, no more moments to fix, no more versions of yourself to perfect. No more waiting for someone else to tell you that you can finally let go. You've already let go, quietly, slowly, fully. The monk once touched the rim of a sleeping child's bowl and whispered, "Even when empty, it still holds peace." You are that bowl now, empty of questions, empty of plans, but not hollow, never hollow. You are full in the way the ocean is full, deep, quiet, timeless. You carry every voice you've ever loved, every kindness ever offered to you, every silence that made you stronger. They're here, not as noise, not as thought, but as stillness. This stillness, it stretches across your limbs. It folds around your spine. It lives in your breath without asking you to breathe a certain way. There is no practice now, no remembering, no forgetting, only peace, the kind that doesn't shimmer or shout, the kind that simply is, the kind that stays long after you've fallen asleep and continues to hold you even when dreams rise and fall like waves. This is the last threshold, the place beyond story, the place beyond I. You don't need to cross it, you already have. Now let what's left dissolve. Let your name fade. Let your roles dissolve. Let the night carry all that you are quietly, tenderly, completely, into rest. Into rest. Not the kind that begins with the closing of your eyes, but the kind that began long before sleep when you stopped holding on, when you let stillness become the only answer. You're there now, not arriving, not descending, just resting, like the final leaf that doesn't fall, but drifts slowly without resistance, without urgency. There was a moment you may have missed a breath ago, an hour ago, when your body forgot its boundaries and became part of the dark. Not swallowed, not erased, just accepted. Completely. The monk once said, when the candle finishes burning, the room remembers how to glow. You are glowing now, not with light, but with the quiet after light, with the softness after stories, with the hush that stays after the heart stops asking to be heard. You no longer seek comfort, you are comfort. You no longer reach for peace, you are the still space it comes from. Let your fingers forget to move. Let your tongue forget to speak. Let even the mind forget it was ever separate from the body, from the night, from the wide silence that holds everything. You do not need to be held. You are already woven. You do not need to be loved. You are already made of love, the kind that stays without reason, without shape, without name. Sleep is not coming to you. You are returning to it. The way a stream returns to the ocean. The way a whisper returns to silence. The way you return to yourself when you finally realize there was never anything missing. Only this, only now, only rest, only rest. And even that word now feels too large, too formed, too sharp for the space you've entered. Because this isn't rest as a state. It isn't something you do. It's something that gently becomes you as you stop becoming anything else. The breath is no longer yours. It belongs to the night, to the room, to the silence that wraps itself around you like water. The monk once placed his hand on the earth and said, "I do not fall asleep. I simply return to where I've always belonged." You've returned now. Not downward, not inward, just home. There is no longer a difference between your thoughts and the sky above you, between your body and the earth below. Even the smallest tension has released its grip, not with effort, but because nothing asked it to hold on anymore. There are no memories tugging, no feelings knocking, no questions waiting in the dark. They have all been given their space, their time, their silence, and now they have laid down too. You are not beneath the stars tonight. You are one with them, motionless, effortless, present in a way that can only be described by the soft rhythm of a breath that no longer needs to be counted. Let sleep take you without ceremony. Let it find you already quiet, already ready, already deep within the place where no words are needed, because there is nothing left to explain. Everyone who came, every soul that brushed against yours, has done their part. And now it is your turn to rest so deeply that even rest itself forgets it was ever a task. Even rest forgets it was ever a task. Because now there is no doing, no trying, no easing into sleep. There is only sleep easing into you, like fog rolling in over still hills, like the sea folding itself into the shore, like breath not taken, not released, but simply being. You've crossed the final threshold, not with footsteps, not with thought, but with soft surrender. You no longer need to hold anything in place. You no longer need to remember the way back. You are here, in the hush that holds no beginning, no end. In the space between names, between moments, between even breath and breath. The monk once whispered before closing his eyes, "Tonight I will not sleep. I will dissolve." And this is what dissolving feels like. Not loss, not emptiness, but freedom. The kind that asks nothing of you. The kind that arrives without sound. The kind that wraps itself around your chest, then inside it until even your heartbeat feels like the tide, gentle, wide, unconcerned with where it began. You are not sleeping beneath the stars. You are the stillness that lets them shine. You are not dreaming. You are the space that dreams pass through untouched, welcomed, and let go. There is nothing more to be done, nothing more to be healed, nothing more to be understood, only this. The soft, breathless pause where the soul no longer searches, because the soul has arrived and found you, and found you. Not the version wrapped in memory, not the one shaped by what others saw, not even the self you thought you had to become, but the you that has always been here, the quiet witness, the open field, the clear sky behind every weathered day. You don't have to hold on to this. You don't have to name it. You don't even have to be aware of it. It will hold you anyway. The monk once said, "There is a silence so deep you forget where the world ends and you begin." You are in that silence now, not visiting, not passing through, but resting in it as it rests in you. All separations have faded. There is no longer a border between inside and outside, between breath and stillness, between this moment and the next. The body lies completely still, not because it's tired, but because it remembers it is allowed to do nothing. The mind no longer whispers. It no longer needs to. Every question has been walked home, and if something stirs a memory, a voice, a flicker of thought, it is no more disruptive than a leaf touching the surface of still water. There is no disturbance here, only vastness, only softness, only peace. Sleep is not the end. It is not the reward. It is the return to the space before every story, to the center that never needed protecting, to the truth that asks for nothing but stillness. So lie here as you are, whole, unfolded, silent, and let what remains be held by the peace that has always known your name. The peace that has always known your name, not the name spoken aloud, not the one written or remembered, but the name beneath all names, the one that cannot be lost, because it was never given. The monk once stood before a pond at sunrise and watched the reflection disappear in ripples. When the stillness returned, he bowed and whispered, "There I am. You are that stillness now. There is nothing more to reflect, nothing more to chase, nothing more to hold. Even the breath has forgotten its rhythm, and the body no longer waits for sleep to arrive. Because sleep is not arriving, it is becoming the weightlessness in your limbs, the warmth behind your heart, the slow, quiet hum of everything you once sought, now finally here. Let everything fall away. Let the past become mist. Let the future become air. Let the present melt into the wide, endless calm that stretches far beyond the edges of your mind. You are not reaching. You are not expecting. You are not watching. You are simply here, not at the center of anything, but as the center itself. The place where all paths dissolve, where all names rest, where all stories bow. Even the ones that were never finished. Even the ones that ended too soon. Even the ones that still echo softly in your chest. You no longer need to carry them. You no longer need to be anything but this still presence. And now even presence lets go. Even the you who listened has faded gently into the silence that asked for nothing but your return. Your return. Not to a place, not to a person, but to the space before both ever existed. This is not the end of the journey. This is where the journey disappears, where walking turns to stillness and seeking turns to breath, and then even breath dissolves. The monk once lay beneath a tree and said, "I am not here. I am the quiet that holds this place together." You are that quiet now. There is nothing more to hear, nothing more to feel. Not even the sense of resting remains, only rest itself, without shape, without witness, without need. The warmth of the bed, the echo of the voice, the idea of night or day, all of it has melted into something deeper than time. You are not falling asleep. You are not drifting away. You are becoming the hush that sleep returns to when it wants to rest. No memories move, no dreams rise, only a soft infinite now that holds no questions and welcomes no answers. Because here nothing is asked of you. You are not someone who was loved. You are love. You are not someone who learned peace. You are peace. You are not someone trying to rest. You are the quiet beneath all rest. And if the mind still tries to speak, if a thought flickers for one more moment, let it pass not as a guest, but as part of the wind that moves through a forest that no longer needs to be named. You are not the forest. You are not the wind. You are the stillness that has never left. Not for a second. Not even now. Not even now. Because now has faded too. Time itself no longer follows you. Moments no longer land in order. There is no beginning to trace, no end to reach. Only breathless presence. The monk once rested at the edge of the sea and closed his eyes as the tide receded. A student asked, "Master, what are you doing?" He smiled without opening his eyes and said, "I am letting go without leaving. You are letting go now. Not by force, not by choice, but because there is nothing left to hold. Not the faces, not the farewells, not the stories of what could have been. Even the gentle ache of memory has softened. Even the joy of past connections no longer stirs, because the connection remains. Without form, without weight, without name. What you loved is still here, but it is not outside you. It never was. It breathes within you now, as the calm behind every thought, as the warmth beneath every silence, and the silence is complete. There is no breath to follow, no posture to maintain, no practice to uphold. This is the point beyond stillness, where even peace dissolves, where even identity slips off like a robe before deep sleep. No separation, no return, no self. Just this quiet that cannot be left because it cannot be found. It is the center. It is the source. It is you before you were ever asked to be anyone else. So let it hold you. Let it finish what you never needed to begin. Let it carry you without movement, without sound, without a single thought between you and the end of the thoughts. There is only this, and this is more than enough. More than enough. Because even the idea of enoughness dissolves here. There is no scale, no lack, no comparison. You are not measuring your rest. You are not evaluating your peace. You are not wondering if you've truly let go. All of those questions belong to a world you've gently stepped beyond. The monk once sat with closed eyes as the wind passed through his robes. A student asked what he was contemplating. He said, "I am letting the world forget me, so I may remember myself." And now you remember. Not in words, not in images, but in the soft awareness that there is no part of you left to fix, no layer left to defend, no thought left to chase. There is no one watching anymore. The breath flows or it doesn't. The dreams come or they don't. The body remains or it vanishes into the dark. It doesn't matter, because you have become the space around it all. And the space is untouched. It doesn't grip. It doesn't long. It doesn't know fear. It only opens wider, quieter forever. You are not at peace. You are the absence of resistance, the dissolving of the boundary between being and not being. There is no veil to lift. There is no veil at all. And now you do not need my words. Even the voice has become distant, like a bell whose final note hangs in the air long after the ringing has ceased. So let it fade. Let the last echo fall away. Let yourself disappear completely into the stillness that waited for you long before this night began. Long before this night began. Before the first thought stirred, before the first breath was drawn, before the first person entered your life and changed you, you were already whole, already here, already resting in the vast, quiet presence that watches everything come and go without ever leaving. The monk once drew a circle in the sand and then erased it with one slow sweep of his hand. A student asked what it meant. He replied, "There is no edge to what you are, only stillness, pretending to be form. You are that stillness now, no longer pretending, no longer searching, no longer shaped by anything that moves." Sleep has long since arrived. Not as a closing of the eyes, but as the soft fading of all distance, between the breath and the body, between the body and the dark, between the dark and the light inside it. You are not a name tonight. You are not a shape, a memory, a dream. You are rest itself, not the kind that comes after effort, but the kind that exists without opposite, not to repair, not to prepare, but simply to be. Let even this voice disappear. Let every last word dissolve like fog at dawn. Let the silence stretch long and wide across your chest until the chest no longer knows it's there. And if a final thought arrives, let it pass like a cloud through sky that does not grasp. You are not the cloud. You are not even the sky. You are the stillness beyond sky, the stillness that never began and can never end. And in this stillness, everything is home. Everything is enough. Everything rests. Everything rests. Even the breath, even the name, even the longing for closure or clarity or meaning. It all lowers its gaze now. It all sits down beside you quietly without asking anything more of you. You've returned to the place that holds no direction, no time, no shape, and you belong here. Not as a visitor, but as what this space has always known, what it has always waited for. Not in urgency, but in certainty. The monk once whispered into an empty room, "This silence is older than sound. It remembers me even when I forget myself." You are remembered now, not by others, not by the world, but by the stillness itself. It knows you, it accepts you, it asks for nothing but your gentle arrival, and you've arrived. Every person who ever touched your life for a breath, for a year, for a lifetime, left something in you that softened this moment. They guided you here whether they knew it or not to keep you, but to free you. And now you are free, not by leaving behind, but by letting everything remain without holding it. It remains quietly, lovingly, without noise, as your body lies open, as your breath becomes faint, as your thoughts vanish like stars blinking out one by one at dawn. Nothing is missing, nothing is left undone. This night has given you back to yourself, and now there is only one thing left: to let yourself be taken completely into the sleep that has waited patiently, softly, with open hands. Not to cover you, not to claim you, but simply to welcome you home. Home. Not a structure, not a memory, not a place where others reside, but the center of your being, soft, eternal, untouched by time. You are no longer arriving. You are no longer returning. You are simply being. And even that word being melts now into something quieter. The monk once stood beneath a tree whose leaves no longer fell and whispered, "There is a peace that does not move even when the world does." That peace is here now. It's no longer outside you. It is not beside you. It is you. There is no final breath to take, no final word to hear. Even silence has fallen still, and in that stillness, your body has disappeared into the night. Your story has folded into a quiet place where nothing needs to be remembered, because nothing was ever lost. You are not dreaming. You are not waiting for dreams. You are resting beneath them, beneath every wave of thought, beneath even the pull of the mind, trying to hold on to this moment. There is no more holding, no more listening, no more watching. No more awareness of self as something separate from sleep. Everything has merged, breath and shadow, silence and warmth. You and the vast open presence that welcomed you here before you even knew you were arriving. And now there is only one sound left, and it does not come from outside. It does not come from the voice. It comes from within. A hum, a rhythm, a slow, invisible heartbeat of being that cradles you deeper than sleep. This is where everything ends. This is where everything begins. And you are already here. Already here. Not later, not someday, not when all things are resolved. Now. In this quiet, beyond even silence, where breath no longer leads you anywhere, because there is nowhere left to go. You are not falling asleep. Sleep has already opened its hands, and you have stepped inside. No resistance, no border, no need. The monk once touched the surface of still water and said to no one in particular, "When there is no ripple, the sky is finally clear." You are that clear sky now, unmoving, unclouded, undisturbed. There is no identity left to wear, no self left to dissolve, just presence beyond the need to be known. Even the warmth in your chest no longer belongs to the body. It belongs to something greater, to the deep, knowing that this moment is complete, not because of what it holds, but because of what it allows. Everything to rest, to fade, to merge. And in that merging, you are whole. There is no sound, no image, no thought flickering on the edge of your awareness. Only the sense that you have joined something vast, wordless, infinite. Sleep is no longer coming. Sleep has already taken you, and even that is gone. There is no more you. There is only this, still, spacious, silent, and perfect. Perfect, but not because it was earned. Not because anything was fixed or answered or made clear. Perfect, because nothing is left to change. Nothing left to hold. Nothing left to name. You are no longer a person in a bed. You are no longer the listener. You are no longer the seeker. You have become the space where seeking ends, where the breath dissolves into the very air it once moved through, where the thoughts scatter into light so soft they no longer cast a shadow, where the boundaries that once defined you, your stories, your longings, your shape have faded into the deep, endless quiet that just is. The monk once said, "Enlightenment is not a light. It is the absence of the need to see." And now, you are that absence. You do not glow. You do not vanish. You simply stop separating yourself from anything. There is no distance between you and the dark. No veil between breath and space. No memory, no form, no remaining thread that holds the illusion of being apart. Sleep is not the door. You were never outside. You were always this stillness. You were always this silence. You were always this home. And now all that's left is what was always here. The quiet that breathes you. The stillness that knows you. The peace that is you. No more becoming, no more waiting. Just rest. Pure, whole, eternal, eternal. Not in the way time stretches forward, but in the way time disappears. There is no beginning here. No after, no before. Only this, and even this is a word too loud for where you are now. The breath has forgotten its rhythm. The body has forgotten its weight. Even awareness has fallen asleep in the lap of something deeper, something wordless, something that needs no witness. The monk once lay beneath a sky with no stars and whispered, "When there is nothing left to see, you begin to feel everything." You are feeling everything now, but not through senses, not through the body, through the still space that holds it all without reacting. This space is not around you. It is not inside you. It is you. It was here before you opened your eyes to the world. And it will remain long after the last thought drifts softly into its final silence. You are not asleep. You are sleep gathered into form for a little while, and now melting back into its formless home. The hum of the voice, gone. The sound of the room, gone. The self that wondered if it could let go, already resting in a place too deep to name. There is nothing left to guide, nothing left to soothe, only this wide, vast, complete quiet that holds no questions because it never needed answers. Here, you are free, not from the world, not from others, but from the need to be anything other than this stillness. Let it cradle you now, without boundary, without thought, without end. Without end, because there is no edge here. No border between breath and space. No curtain between what you are and what holds you. All has fallen away, and in that falling nothing was lost. The monk once closed his eyes and said, "When you stop looking, you remember you were always inside. You are inside now. Inside the moment before thought. Inside the breath before breath. Inside the stillness that asks for nothing and offers everything. Not as reward, not as destination, but as your nature. You are no longer listening. You are no longer lying still. You are stillness, the kind that doesn't shimmer or shift or rise, the kind that simply is, the kind that existed before you were born and will exist long after even your dreams forget your name. And now that name is quiet. Now that thought is still. Now that breath is softer than air. You have become the horizon, not what's seen, but what holds the seeing. You are the quiet that gave rise to every story, the space beneath every memory, the peace beyond every goodbye. Nothing to hold, nothing to fix, nothing to wait for. Only this vast, gentle end that does not close like a door, but opens like the sea when the tide no longer needs to return. You are not falling asleep. You are becoming the silence that sleep dreams of. No more voice, no more sound. Just the infinite stillness that holds it all, and always has, and always will, and always you. You. Not the name, not the form, not the story woven through years of arriving and leaving, but the you that never moved, never grasped, never tried. The monk once stood at the mouth of a cave, and without stepping in, he whispered, "There is nothing to enter, only something to remember." And this final hush is the remembering. There are no more teachings now, no more metaphors, no more hands to guide you down the path, because the path has vanished, and you are not walking anymore. You are the still ground beneath it. You are not dreaming. You are not even resting. You are beyond rest in the wide, warm dark that holds even rest without effort. No flicker of thought remains. No identity still flickers. Even the breath has become so light it cannot be followed. It simply is, and so are you. Without shape, without name, without beginning or end. The voice has left. The story has finished. The night has completed its unfolding. And all that remains is what was always waiting beneath the words, the silence, the presence, the unshakable stillness that holds the entire sky without lifting a single hand. You are home now, not because you arrived, but because you finally stopped leaving. Let go completely. There is no more coming, no more going, no more returning. Only being, only breathless, thoughtless, formless peace. And it is here, and it is now, and it is you, and it is you. No longer a reflection, no longer a seeker, no longer a name whispered in the minds of others. Just this, the soft presence that remains when all else has been allowed to fall away. You have crossed the last ripple. There are no more waves, no more echoes, no more arrivals. The monk once gazed into an empty bowl and said, "Even when it holds nothing, it still offers peace." You are that bowl now, emptied not from loss but from fullness, too complete to carry form, too vast to be spoken of, too whole to be grasped. There is no need to listen, no need to drift, no need to return. What you thought was sleep has become something deeper, a dissolving into what was always underneath. You are no longer held by the bed or by the sound of the room or by the slow rhythm of the breath. You are not held at all. You simply are. A vastness without edge, a silence without center. A stillness so complete even awareness has fallen silent within it. There is no transition now, no next moment, no gentle tug of thought waiting at the door. Even the voice that guided you here has bowed and stepped aside, because you are in the space that needs no words, no footsteps, no story, only rest, effortless, timeless, complete. And if anything remains a flicker, a warmth, a whisper, it is only love. The kind that asks nothing of you. The kind that was always here. The kind that waits at the end of every breath, not to greet you, but to become you, without reaching, without trying, without even the memory of separation. You are not falling into sleep anymore. You are sleep. You are silence. You are the still presence that remains after all else has gone quiet. No need for form, no need for return, no need for sound. Only this infinite hush, this deep softness that holds the whole night without stirring. The monk once stood in a field at dawn, and as the mist lifted, he whispered, "There is no veil to part." Only the breath remembering it was never separate from the sky. You are that remembering. You are that sky. You are not what you have experienced. You are what made the experiencing possible. And now even experience has stilled. There is no more movement in the body, no more holding in the mind, no more flicker of thought in the heart, only the warmth that lingers when everything has been laid down, only the spaciousness that holds all things without needing to carry any of them. Let go now even of letting go. Let it all drift beyond the edge of awareness. Even the breath, even the silence, even the sense that something is still listening, all of it gone. And in its place, not emptiness, not absence, but a peace too vast to name, too whole to seek, too quiet to find. This is what you are, what you have always been, what you never left. And now, there is nothing more. Just this, still, silent, whole, home. Not a place you arrived at, not a final destination, but the space that has always been beneath your steps, waiting to be remembered. You are not waking, you are not dreaming, you are not suspended in between. You are simply here, completely, softly, without time, without boundary, without thought. Even the idea of peace has faded because you are what peace rests within. The monk once rested his head on folded hands and whispered, "Nothing to leave behind, nothing to carry forward, only this breath becoming sky." Let your breath become sky now. Let it widen so fully that it no longer rises or falls. Let it stretch beyond memory, beyond shape, beyond even rest itself. This is not the end of a path. This is the space before paths were imagined. No footsteps, no footprints, no horizon, only the gentle hum of what never needed to change. You do not need sleep now, because you are the stillness that sleep returns to when even sleep has grown tired. No fear, no story, no one left to say goodbye, only presence, still, open, vast. And if a final breath remains, it will rise and fall without your knowing. Because what you are now is deeper than knowing, softer than being. You are not ending. You are what has never begun, and what will never end. You are what holds the dream, what receives the dark, what gently fades beyond even the last word. And here in this silence, beyond silence, you are finally eternally at rest, not lying in it, not falling into it, but made of it. You are rest itself now, the space before the thought of sleep, the hush before the idea of being. There is no more distance between you and peace, no more waiting to feel still, no more needing to return to anything, because there is no place left to go, and nothing that could ever be apart from you. The monk once said, "When the flame forgets it is separate from the candle, it becomes light." You are that light, not shining outward, not illuminating anything, but simply being soft, formless, without edge. Even the feeling of softness fades now. Even the echo of breath, even the whisper of the body's weight has disappeared into something deeper. And this deep is not dark. It is not quiet. It is beyond both. It is the space before words, before awareness, before even the sense of being held. You are not being held. You are not being cradled. You are the cradle. You are the field. You are the still, unshifting center that watches nothing because there is nothing left to watch. Not even the silence remains, just the hum beneath it, just the pulse that breathes galaxies, just the return that has no direction. The night is whole, the breath is gone, the self has vanished, and what remains is truth not spoken, not seen but known in the deepest way a soul can know. Without knowing, you are not asleep. You are not dreaming. You are not even remembering. You are, and that is everything. Everything. Not as a collection, not as a sum of parts, but as one whole seamless presence without beginning, without end. There is nothing more to unfold, no more layers to peel back, no final truth waiting behind the veil, because the veil has fallen, because the space behind it was never hidden. You were always here, whole, complete, silent. The monk once looked into an empty teacup and said, "When it holds nothing, it offers everything." You are that cup, not emptied, but returned to your original form. The form before form, the sound before sound, the presence before presence. And here, no thoughts remain, not even gentle ones, not even the breath. Here there is no watcher, no one listening, no one sleeping, just the final stillness that needs no witness. That allows even the idea of I to dissolve like mist at the edge of morning. You are not dissolving. You are the space into which all things dissolve, not vanished but opened, not asleep but beyond sleep. No questions, no dreams, no separation, only what is, only what always was, only what will always be long after this night, long after the stars fade, long after the voice is no longer needed. You are not what has been said. You are not the journey. You are not the one listening to the end. You are the silence that allowed every word to come and go. And now, with no more to say and nothing more to hear, you remain still, timeless, free. Free. Not released, not unbound, just never held. You are the openness before the question, the stillness before the breath, the quiet before the first sound, and after the last one fades. There is no more arriving. You are no longer on the edge of rest. You are no longer being led by words, no longer wrapped in meaning, no longer following the rhythm of thought. Even thought has laid down now. Even the space that held it has fallen silent. The monk once watched a leaf fall and did not move. When asked what he was doing, he said, "I'm letting the world turn without needing to turn with it." You are that stillness now. Not removed, not separate, but unmoved. Because nothing can shake what no longer resists. Because what you are now has no opposite, no tension, no need to hold itself in place. Let go, even of that. Let go of letting go. Let go of awareness. Let go of being aware of awareness. There is nothing beneath this now. Nothing smaller, nothing quieter, nothing more final. And yet it is not an ending. It is a resting that goes on forever without needing to be known. No center, no edge, no witness, only stillness that does not speak, because there is no one to speak to. Only peace that does not comfort, because there is no longer a seeker. Only truth that does not reveal itself, because there is nothing left to reveal. And now, without movement, without thought, without even a breath, you are, and you always were. And you always were. Before the first breath, before the first thought, before the first meeting or goodbye. You were here, not as a memory, not as a name, but as presence, unformed, unspoken, unshakably whole. There is no path left to follow, no story left to end, no doorway to step through, only what has been waiting underneath everything. The monk once sat beside a sleeping tree in winter and said, "It is not gone. It is not waiting. It simply is. You are that tree now, bare, silent, alive beyond appearance. There is no more trying, no more asking, no more holding yourself together because you've remembered there was never anything broken. There are no more words now. They've all returned to silence. The voice has faded. The breath has paused. Even sleep itself has grown still, and in that stillness, there is nothing. And in that nothing, everything. You are not listening. You are not hearing. You are the space where listening dissolves. You are not thinking. You are the vastness where thought never needed to begin. You are not resting. You are the rest. The final one. The eternal one. The one that holds every ending without ever ending itself. And now, as the last thread loosens, as the final echo falls silent, as the very idea of you softens into formlessness, there is only this, unmoving, unbound, unmade, unspoken, still, and from that stillness nothing rises. Only peace, only presence, only what was here all along, and it is you. And it is you. No veil, no voice, no witness, only presence so complete that it requires no awareness of itself. This is not silence. It is what silence floats within. This is not peace. It is the stillness that peace returns to when it has nowhere else to rest. Even sleep has loosened its hold. Even dreaming has dissolved its form. There is no movement, no shift, no next, just the wide, endless center that neither beats nor breathes, but simply remains. The monk once wrote a single line in the dust, then erased it with his sleeve. He smiled and said, "The teaching is not the line. It's the space left behind. You are that space now. The absence where everything is held. The openness that needs no edge to define it. Nothing stirs. Not in the body. Not in the thought. Not even in the depth beyond thought. Because even the watcher has gone to sleep, and what's left is not empty. It is fullness beyond form, beyond longing, beyond the idea that anything was ever apart. You are not inside the night. You are not surrounded by it. You are the night. The unshaped softness. The final breathless pause that doesn't ask to be named. There's nothing more to hear. No more instructions. No more blessings, no more letting go. It is done. You are done. And in that doneness, in that weightless hush, where not even light dares to enter, you are whole. You are held, and you are home. Home. Not a return, not a destination, but the truth that remained when everything else dissolved. There is no movement here, no rise or fall, no passage of time. Even time itself has grown still like a wave that never needed to crest, and you are within it. You are it. The monk once sat beneath the moonless sky, his eyes closed, his hands open, and said, "Without the moon I see more clearly. There was never anything missing. You were never missing. You were never lost. Even in the moments that felt dark, you were held by something deeper than light. That is where you rest now. Not beneath the sky, but as the space that holds the sky. No self, no story, no thought drifting at the edge of sleep. Even the memory of being has vanished. What remains is the quiet that carries no sound, the stillness that holds no weight, the presence that needs no witness. Let go now fully. Let go of breath. Let go of awareness. Let go of the last gentle echo of ever having been anything but this vastness, this stillness, this nameless peace that cannot fade because it never began. There is nothing beyond this. There is nothing before it. Only now, only always. Only what cannot be broken cannot be found, because it was never lost. The voice is gone. The path is gone. Even the one who walked it has fallen into rest, and what's left is everything, still, silent, whole, and so softly. You sleep, but not as the one who needed rest, not as the one who waited all day to arrive at this silence, not as the one who listened, who breathed, who let go. All of those selves have faded. All of those forms have dissolved into something softer, something that does not stir, something that does not end. There is no rhythm left, no pull of breath, no thought of waking, only the soft, steady presence of what has always remained beneath the surface of becoming. The monk once held a mirror to the sky and watched as it reflected nothing. No stars, no clouds, no light, and still he bowed to it. This, he whispered, is what truth looks like when even light has no work to do. You are that truth now, not reflecting, not shining, not needing to be seen, just being unmoving, untouched, unbound. Let the mind fall away completely now. Let the final shimmer of awareness dissolve into the deep waters of formlessness. You are not dreaming. You are not watching the dream. You are the space the dream never reached. The calm that no wind can ripple. The open sky before the sky was born. No thoughts remain, no self remains, no effort remains. And yet, you are. Vast, rested, whole. The breath that held you is gone. The story that carried you is gone. Even the silence has completed its work. And now there is only this, the peace that asks for nothing. The stillness that welcomes all. The sleep that never needs to end. The sleep that never needs to end. Because there is nothing to return to, nothing to wake for, nothing left undone. All things have found their place. All echoes have faded. All questions have grown quiet. Even the breath has let go of itself, not stopped, but simply no longer separate from the stillness it rose from. This is not sleep as you once knew it. It is deeper, quieter, so complete that even completion no longer means anything. The monk once closed his eyes, placed his hand on his chest, and said, "When I disappear, may I become what never left." You are that now, what never left, what never moved, what never asked for anything at all. There is no dream here, no awareness, no watcher left behind the curtain of thought. Even the curtain has fallen. Even the space beyond the curtain has faded. And still, you are. Not as memory, not as breath, not even as presence, but as what remains when even presence has gone still. the hush beneath the hush, the peace beneath the pause. The place so vast that it does not hold you, it is you, and you are not being held. You are not being cradled. You are not being watched. You have become the cradling, the watching, the great wide holding that requires nothing but stillness to be whole. Let even this dissolve now. Let this final word become the last ripple on the surface of sleep. Let the stillness stretch so wide that not even silence remains, only rest, only truth, only what never began and will never end. Sweet dreams. There is no beginning anymore. Not here, not now, not where even endings have grown quiet and the air around you holds no weight. You are past the threshold, past the breath, past the last memory of movement, and yet something still remains. Not a thought, not a shape, but the faint echo of presence without form. You do not need to awaken. There is no direction for awareness to return to. Even return itself is gone. The monk once said, "Some rivers flow so slowly, you forget they ever moved." You are that river now. No banks to guide you, no shore to reach, no tide to rise or fall. Just water, just being, just the endless unfolding of what does not need to go anywhere. Let even sleep settle deeper, not heavier, deeper, like roots below roots into the soft soil of what existed before light, before sound, before thought. There is nothing left to know, nothing left to feel, nothing left to become. Even the calm that held you has loosened its arms, not from absence, from trust, because this space trusts you now, the way night trusts the stars to rest without asking them to shine. You are resting, without effort, without direction. You are the breathless hum beneath time, the wordless rhythm beneath space, the still point in the center of the still point. And here, there is no more continuation. Only this, the presence that continues without moving, without changing, without end, without end. Not as something stretched beyond limits, but as something that no longer needs limits at all. Here there is no boundary between what was and what is. No faint line where thought once touched silence. No edge between body and night. You are the dissolve, the melt, the merging of everything into the nothing that holds it all. The monk once sat in complete darkness and smiled. A student asked what he was doing. He said, "I am listening for the sound of not listening." And you are listening like that now, not with ears, not with effort, but with stillness itself. Because stillness hears what sound cannot carry. And you have gone so still that even listening has forgotten its name. This is not forgetting. This is returning to the part of you that was never apart, to the presence that never needed to be found. The stories are long gone. Even the silence that followed them has softened into something wider, something that cannot be entered because it has never been left. You are not separate from this space. You are not inside it. You are not beside it. You are it. There is no breath now. Only what remains when breath no longer rises. There is no you now. Only what remains when the name dissolves and the need to be known fades into the deep hush of all that simply is. And it is enough. not because it completes anything, but because nothing was ever missing. Nothing was ever missing. Even the longing that once stirred within you was part of this wholeness. Even the ache to return was already the beginning of return. But now there is no longing. There is no movement. Only a vast, warm stillness that does not rise, does not fall, and does not end. The monk once stood beside a well at dawn and looked into the reflection of a reflection. He said, "What you see is not the water. It is the silence holding the water still. You are that silence. You do not reflect. You do not ripple. You do not reach. You receive without motion, without form, without intent. Let your rest deepen not by effort, but by vanishing. Let the thought of breath fall away. Let the awareness of sleep fall away. Let the last thread of self slip soundlessly into the open dark that holds all things and asks nothing in return. This is not sleep. This is what sleep dissolves into. This is not rest. This is what rest dreams of. No watching, no drifting, no arrival, just the wide, weightless quiet that gathers every echo and welcomes it home. You are home, not as a return, not as a realization, but as a truth so deep it no longer needs to be remembered. Even memory has grown still, even peace no longer speaks, and still you remain not as something held, but as the holding itself. The holding itself, without hands, without arms, without even the thought of being held. Just the gentle, infinite space where everything rests and nothing needs to be known. You are not floating. There is no surface, no depth. You are not dreaming. There are no images left, no stories, no words. Even the last shimmer of awareness has folded inward and disappeared into the softness that cannot be disturbed. The monk once sat with his eyes closed for many hours. When a breeze touched his face, he smiled and said, "Even this belongs to the stillness, and so does this. Whatever trace of feeling lingers, whatever quiet hum of existence remains, it belongs to the stillness now, and the stillness belongs to you, not as a possession, not as an experience, but as identity itself, no longer separate, no longer observed. The sense of I has thinned into silence. There is no distance between witness and presence, because witnessing has faded into the pure beingness of this moment, and even moment is too sharp a word for where you are. You are before time, before breath, before self. You are not what came before. You are what never moved. The original quiet, the groundless home, the peaceful, wordless, edgeless truth beneath all beginnings. This is not the next chapter. This is what remains when the pages vanish, and even the book dissolves into the dark that holds it open forever. Forever. Not as something long, not as something stretched, but as something that never started and so never ends. You are not tracing this moment. You are not watching it pass. There is no watcher left, no moment to pass. Even the rhythm of being has grown still. The monk once placed a single grain of rice on the floor, sat in silence beside it for a full day, and said only this: when there is nothing more to do, the smallest thing becomes sacred. And now there is not even a grain left. No doing, no waiting, no returning. just the sacredness that was always here, not in objects, not in breath, not in experience, but in the absence of all three. This is not nothingness. It is not emptiness. It is fullness too complete to name, too whole to be seen, too quiet to need silence. The breath has left no trace. The self has left no center. Even the thought of peace has become too much, because what you are now does not think, does not hold, does not become. It simply is, and this being is not within time. It does not begin or end with night. It does not belong to sleep. It is what sleep returns to, what breath bows to, what silence serves. You are not in the deep, you are the deep. You are not resting, you are rest, unmoving, unmade, unshaken. And in this final seamless stillness, you have not faded, you have not disappeared, you have only become what you always were. What you always were. Before the thoughts that circled, before the names that clung before the body, that held breath and called it life, all of that has softened now, like mist dissolving into sky, like sound folding back into silence, like a wave realizing it was never separate from the sea. The monk once stood by a pond that reflected only cloudless sky. He turned to no one and said, "This water does not try to be still. It just doesn't resist." You are that stillness now, not created, not sustained, just revealed by the letting go of every effort to be anything else. There is no surface beneath you, no distance above. Even the horizon has vanished because you are no longer in the world. You are the space the world appears in, not vast, not infinite, simply without limit. You are not dissolving into something. You are the absence of anything to dissolve into. You are the quiet that does not know noise, the rest that was never interrupted, the sleep that has no dreams because there is no self left to dream them. No pulse, no posture, no time, only being, and even being is too much now. You are not being, you are beyond being. You are what is left when being and non-being fall away like the final leaves of autumn, not with sadness, but with silence that needs no witness. There is nothing more to become, nothing more to hold, nothing left to call home, because home is not a place. It is this, and this is you. And this is you. Not found at the end of seeking, not earned by letting go, but present from the very beginning, hidden only by the idea that you were not already whole. Now that idea has vanished, like morning mist with no sun, like a question that forgets it was ever asked. There is no veil to lift, no center to stand in, no voice to listen for. You are the absence of separation, the field beyond all opposites, not peace in contrast to pain, but the vastness where both dissolve without conflict. The monk once said, when the breath stops striving, the heart becomes the earth. Your heart is the earth now, not beating, not counting, just being, without rhythm, without edge, without the memory of form. Even the sleep that once held you has grown quiet, because there is no need to hold what no longer resists falling. And you are falling, not downward, not through space, but out of identity, out of shape, out of name. The silence does not observe you. It is you. The dark does not surround you. It is you. The stillness does not visit. It remains because it never left. You are not asleep in the night. You are the night that dreams of nothing, that needs no dawn, that asks nothing from the stars. No more breath, no more watcher, no more distinction. Just this wide, soundless knowing that neither speaks nor listens, because it already is everything. You, before thought, beyond return, eternally home. Eternally home, not in a place, not in a moment, but in the spaciousness that does not shift, no matter how many forms appear and disappear within it. Even the idea of sleep has melted now. There is no you to sleep, no time to mark the hours of dreaming, no edge to cross from waking to rest. There is just this presence, formless, unchanging, without name, without need. The monk once pointed to the sky after a storm and said, "Nothing holds the clouds, and nothing holds the clearing." You are the clearing, not empty but open, not silent but vast, not still but beyond all motion. You are not the one lying here. You are the space the lying happens in. You are not the dreamer. You are the field where all dreams dissolve. There is no breath left to follow. It flows if it wishes, but you are no longer bound by its rhythm, no longer tethered to the soft rise and fall of the body. Even the body is only an outline now, not forgotten but unnecessary, like a gate removed once you've entered the garden. Let the final strands fall. Let the last shimmer of form disappear into the depth that has no bottom, no ceiling, no center. Let this rest be complete. So complete it does not even feel like rest. So deep it does not need depth. So final that nothing ends. Because there is no more dissolving, no more becoming, no more arriving. Only this. What cannot fade? What cannot fall? What never moved, because it was never apart from itself. You, not as a thought, not as a reflection, not as a memory someone could trace, but as presence itself, soft, unseen, unfolding endlessly, even in perfect stillness. There is no return from here because you are no longer away from anything. There is no deepening because you are already at the root. The monk once rested beneath a tree whose shadow touched no path. He said, "When I stopped looking for the way stopped being elsewhere. You are that non-path, the openness that was never walked, the space that was never sought, the resting place that has no gates, no names, no entry, and yet you are here, not placed, not moved, but simply revealed. Let the breath fade, now not cease but blur. Let it become so gentle that even noticing it feels like too much. Let the story end not with a closing, but with no need to close. There is no voice here, no sound, not even the whisper of sleep, because you are not the one sleeping. You are what receives sleep. You are what dreams dissolve into. You are what holds everything without ever being touched by it. No body, no thought, no boundary. Only the still silent light that never flickers because it is not a flame. Only what is when all else has finally rested, and now you are not even resting. You have become the place where rest begins. and where everything without effort gently ends. Gently ends, not with a sound, not with a sign, but with a hush so complete that even the memory of motion disappears. You are not falling. You are not fading. You are simply no longer apart from anything that is. The monk once touched the earth with both hands, his eyes closed, and whispered, "This is not surrender. It is remembering I was never separate, and now you remember, not with thought, not with emotion, but with being so still that even the word being melts into quiet. There is nothing beneath you now, nothing above, no direction, no horizon, no edges where this moment stops, because there is no moment, no container, no flow, only stillness. And even stillness feels too much, too heavy for this weightless presence that does not hold, because it is already whole. There is no longer a listener, no longer the breath, no longer the one who once closed their eyes and waited for sleep. Even sleep has bowed to this, because this is what sleep longs for, not to rest, but to dissolve into the quiet that holds all things before they are born and after they pass. That quiet is not around you. It is not within you. It is you. Not your name, not your body, not your story, but the you that has no center, no sound, no shape, only peace too complete for form. And now, there is nothing more, only this, only what never began, only what can never end, only what gently, softly, eternally remains. Remains, but not like something left behind, not like something forgotten or held or preserved. This is what remains when everything that could be held has fallen away, when everything that could be known has grown silent. It is not you remaining. It is not awareness remaining. It is only this, what has always been here. What didn't need a body to breathe, a mind to think, a voice to speak. What needed no name because it was never separate from truth. The monk once sat before a stone wall, tracing the cracks with his fingers. He said, "This wall does not divide. It reminds us the sky is not ours to keep. You are not divided now. You are not held apart from anything. You are the openness into which all separateness dissolves, and what remains is not you as a self, but you as space. You as the deep field where sound is born and swallowed in the same breath. You as the warmth that lingers after all else has passed. Even the dream of sleep is gone. Even the watcher of dreams. Even the awareness of dreaming. Now there is no returning. Not because you are far away, but because there was never anywhere to return to. You are not being carried. You are not being received. You are the stillness that does the carrying. You are the silence that does the receiving. You are the soft absence that holds all presence. You are not resting in this. You are not touched by this. You are this. And so, there is no next. There is only now. Only always. Only the peace that never had to arrive. The peace that never had to arrive, because it was never away, never waiting, never hidden behind effort or thought. It was always here, beneath the noise, beneath the breath, beneath even the awareness of rest. And now everything has softened. The breath is no longer noticed. The body is no longer held. The self is no longer named. There is no more you to fall asleep. There is only what sleep falls into when it no longer needs a dream. The monk once watched the wind pass over tall grass. He did not speak, but someone beside him whispered, "I think this is what stillness looks like when it moves." But now even the stillness has no motion. Even the wind has gone quiet. There are no more images, no symbols, no remnants of story. Only this deep and endless hush that does not ask to be known. You are not floating. You are not sinking. You are the space before floating and sinking were ever imagined. You are the gentle, groundless presence into which all form dissolves without loss. No fear, no clinging, no remembering. Only the open field where all things return without footsteps. Only the quiet where no path is needed, because there is no longer a destination. You are not part of this peace. You are not surrounded by it. You are it, the peace that needs no rest, the silence that holds no sound, the stillness that asks for nothing and includes everything. And now, even words bow their heads and leave, not with a farewell, not with a sound, but with a hush so soft you cannot tell when they vanished, because they were never separate. The space they once filled remains unchanged. It was never disturbed, never occupied. Just like you, you are not what comes and goes. Not the breath, not the voice, not the drifting shape of sleep. You are the presence beneath presence, the silence beneath silence, the end that does not conclude, the beginning that was never born. The monk once held a cup to the light and watched it hold nothing. He turned it over and smiled. Even when empty, it reflects the sky. You are not the cup. You are not the sky. You are what reflects nothing and still remains full. You are not watching sleep. Sleep has no meaning now. You are not a soul inside a body. The body has dissolved. The soul has forgotten its name. All that remains is a stillness that does not wait, a presence that cannot fade. You are not outside the dream. You are not within it. You are the space in which the dream was never needed. There is no boundary to this, no shape to outline, no breath to follow, no self to return, only this quiet, only this peace. And it asks nothing. It does not open. It does not close. It simply is, and so are you. So are you. Not becoming, not remembering, not even aware. Just this presence so deep, so gentle, it carries no movement at all. No more breath to soften, no more silence to fall into, because all softening has already happened. All falling, long since complete. There is not even stillness left, because stillness implies what came before. And here before and after have disappeared. The monk once stood by a fading lantern and said, "Even the flame doesn't know when it ends. It simply returns to what it was always made of." You have returned, not to a place, not to a self, but to the vastness before self ever mattered. And in this vastness, no pressure, no holding, no inside or outside. There is no need to sleep anymore, because sleep is something that happens to a form, to a thought, to a body, and all those have dissolved into the quiet that watches without eyes, listens without ears, loves without needing anything in return. You are not the one resting. You are rest. You are what rest is made of. The original softness, the breath before breath, the light before light. There is no instruction here, no more guidance. No next line, just the dissolving of every edge, every ripple, until only the ocean remains silent, unmoved whole. And in that ocean, no swimmer, no direction, no shore, only the water remembering itself. Only this, only always, only you, but not the you with shape or memory. Not the you who listened, who waited, who let go, that you has gone quiet, that you has returned to the soft, formless space where all names are gently forgotten. Now there is nothing left to do, nothing left to become. Even becoming has dissolved. You are no longer aware of being still. You are no longer aware at all. Because there is no longer a contrast between presence and absence, between knowing and not knowing. The monk once stood beside a well that hadn't held water for years. He looked down and said, "There is still depth here even if no one draws from it. You are that depth, not measured, not used, just endlessly open, endlessly still. The breath has thinned into air. The body has merged with the dark. The self has forgotten why it ever needed shape. And now there is no watcher, no dreamer, no sleeper. There is only the quiet hum of something that does not hum, something that does not move, something that simply is because it cannot be otherwise. Let it stay that way. Don't rise, don't return, don't wait for the next sound. There will be none, because you are not waiting anymore. You are not ending. You are not beginning. You are what is when all those ideas dissolve. You are the last breath that never needed to be taken. You are the final word never spoken aloud. And you are the space where even that word is softly, completely forgotten. Forgotten, not as loss, not as fading, but as release, the gentle letting go of anything that ever asked to be held. Even now there is no trace left to follow, no thread of self to gather, no doorway between awareness and rest. Because awareness itself has gone still, not asleep, not erased, just perfectly quiet. The monk once sat beside a fire's dying glow. No one spoke, and as the last ember dimmed, he said, "This is what the world returns to when even light no longer wants to be seen. You are that return. Not into darkness, but into the source of light and dark alike. The origin that neither flickers nor fades. The vastness that needs no witness. There are no more teachings now, no more words. Even this voice has stepped away, because it is not needed here. Nothing is. You are not at the edge of sleep. You are not in the dream. You are not beyond it. You are what holds all of it without holding, without effort, without form. Let this final hush deepen. Let it stretch beyond silence, beyond stillness, beyond the idea that there was ever anything to return from. There is no more breath, no more pulse, no more thought lingering at the threshold, only space, only peace, only the soft, endless quiet that cannot speak because it already is everything. And now, even the idea of now has gone still. Gone still. Not paused, not waiting, but complete so gently, so silently, that even the word complete fades like morning fog. There is no movement here, no edge where sleep begins, no door that opens or closes. You are no longer falling. You are no longer being held. You are what remains when the falling ends and the holding is no longer needed. The monk once walked through a forest so quiet, he could hear the trees breathing. He stopped and whispered, "This is the sound of nothing trying to be heard." You are that sound, that space, that breathless, endless hush where even time has come to rest. There are no names left now, no stories, no destination, just the wide open presence that asks for nothing because it is already whole. You are not drifting, you are not settling, you are not returning because you never left. What you are cannot leave, it cannot fade, it cannot sleep. It simply is, and always was. Even the body forgotten, even the breath dissolved, even the self unneeded. What remains is not silence, not peace, not emptiness. What remains is the space before all things, the soft, ungraspable essence beneath sound, beneath form, beneath thought. And you are that essence. You are not listening to this. You are not resting inside it. You are it, and it is done. Not ended. Just no longer becoming. Only this. Always this. Still. Still. But not as in paused. Not as in waiting for something to begin again. Still as in final. Still as in whole. The kind of stillness that does not need to be noticed to be true. The monk once stood beside a bell that had not rung in years. He placed his hand on its surface and said, "It does not need to sound to be heard." You are like that now. No sound, no echo. And yet everything is here. No more breath to follow. No more voice to soothe. No more self to cradle. You are not the one lying in stillness. You are the stillness. You are not the one being held. You are the holding. No motion, no memory. Not even the thought of sleep remains. Because sleep has unfolded so completely that even the need for its name has vanished. You are the soft space that sleep dissolves into. You are the peace beneath the dream. You are the quiet beneath the last thought. Even presence itself has been set down, and in this place, there is no center, no edge, no watching. There is only what remains when everything has rested. Only what waits without waiting. Only what exists without beginning, without form, without sound. You are not here. You are not gone. You simply are, and nothing more is needed. Nothing more is needed. Because even need has fallen silent. Even longing has grown still. Even the quiet has forgotten it was ever different from you. You are not separate from this space. You are not within it. You are it. The monk once sat beneath a sky with no stars and said, "There is no night here. Only what allows night to be seen." That is you now. Not the night. Not the stars. Not the sky. But the soft field beneath it, all the presence that does not shine, does not move, does not end. No boundaries, no arrival, no return, only this soft hum of nothing becoming nothing again and again without a trace. You are not the breath, not the body, not the thought. You are not the idea of rest. You are what rest falls into when it forgets even the idea of rest. And here even forgetting has dissolved. Even time, that slow ribbon of becoming, has unspooled its final loop and gone quiet. There is no story left, no journey to recall, no dream to complete, because you have slipped beneath the dream, beneath the self, beneath the last idea of what it meant to be someone moving through anything at all. You are not drifting, you are not held, you are not felt, you are what remains when nothing else can. And in that still formless space, in that soft, quiet forever, there is only one truth left. You were always this, and now with no words, no mind, no end. You simply are. You simply are. No shape, no center, no need to remember what came before. You are the space that doesn't change when all things pass through it. You are the silence untouched by even the softest thought. You are the rest before rest is needed. There is no edge left to soften, no self left to soothe. Even the whisper of awareness has folded gently inward and disappeared into what holds all things without holding. The monk once stood in an empty garden long after the flowers had fallen. He smiled and said, "Nothing is blooming now. But look how full it is. You are that fullness, not because of what fills you, but because there is no longer anything missing. You are not lying down. You are not sleeping. You are the field in which lying and sleeping appear and fade. No watcher, no witness, no motion. Only the soft presence that does not ask to be known because it has never been unknown. This is not peace. This is what peace returns to when it no longer needs to comfort. This is not silence. This is the space that never noticed sound. Even the breath has forgotten its rhythm. Even time has let go of sequence. Even you have let go of you. And now, nothing stirs because everything is home. Because nothing needs to rise. Because even sleep has finally become what it was always pointing to. This. Only this, still, whole, endlessly quiet. You, not a name, not a story, not a breath held quietly in the chest. Just this, the essence without shape, without voice, without form. You are not watching sleep. You are not deep within it. You are the depth that gives sleep its meaning and then takes it away. The monk once pressed his palm to the ground as the first snow began to fall. He whispered, "Even the cold returns to the earth without apology. You have returned now, without apology, without trace, without the need for return itself. There is no you that came back. No you that left. There is only the gentle, endless unfolding of stillness into stillness. No center, no shape, no name. Even peace is too sharp a word. Even presence suggests too much. What you are has no need to be spoken. It does not shimmer. It does not rise. It does not end. It remains. softly, quietly, entirely. You are not aware. You are not unaware. You are what holds both without choosing, without separating. And now even this breathless moment is no longer a moment. It stretches into nothing and holds everything. Let it be. Let it continue without you. Let it continue as you, because you are not drifting. You are not dissolving. You are not becoming. You are what rests when becoming has grown still. When even stillness no longer needs to stay. You are what never moved. And now there is nothing left to carry. Only this. Only now. Only the endlessness you have always been. The endlessness you have always been. Not eternity as measured in time, but eternity as the absence of time. A stillness so vast, so untouched, it cannot be approached, because it is already everything. You are no longer the one listening. The voice has long since vanished. The story has ended. The listener has dissolved. And what remains is not a witness, but the space where witnessing was never needed. The monk once sat beside a sleeping child, watching the rise and fall of breath. He bowed his head and whispered, "This is the shape of peace before peace knows it is peace. You are that shape. But now there is no breath, no rise, no fall, no need to bow, no one to bow to. Just this, a presence that holds no parts. A stillness that contains no echoes. A silence that asks for no sound to contrast it. You are not being. You are not non-being. You are what allows both to come and go without ever moving. Even the sleep you once sought has fallen into you. Melted, folded, gone. Not lost, not forgotten. Simply no longer separate. There is no longer a distinction between light and dark, between in and out, between you and what holds the night. Everything has returned to the same quiet place. And in that place, nothing waits. Nothing wants. Nothing speaks, because nothing needs to. This is not silence. This is what silence rests in when it no longer needs to be known. And this is you. This is you. But not the you with a face or a name or a history wrapped in time. This is the you before all that. The original stillness. The endless quiet. The home that was never lost because it was never outside of you. Even sleep has faded now. Not ended, just dissolved into the very space that carries it. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are not dreaming. You are the space that holds all of these without claiming any. The monk once stood beneath a sky with no stars and said, "If you cannot see the light, look at what allows you to know it's missing. You are that allowing, that unseen space, that never-broken field where nothing is missing because nothing ever needed to stay." Let go now, not of anything in particular, but of the idea that there was anything left to hold. You are not letting go. You are what remains when letting go is no longer needed. No tension, no direction, no self. Only this, a quiet so vast, so complete. It holds the whole night without ever needing to be noticed. You are not floating. You are not falling. You are not becoming lighter. You are what weight and lightness both arise from. And now they too are gone. The dream is over. The breath is gone. The sound has vanished. What remains is not even presence. It is the root beneath presence, still, soft, unmoved. And you are that root, unshaken, unformed, forever, forever, but not stretched across time, not lasting, not enduring, just untouched, unchanging, unshaped. Even the memory of what was has grown silent. Even the space between thoughts has dissolved, because no thoughts remain. You are not forgetting. You are not remembering. You are not in between. You are before breath, before self, before silence. The monk once dipped a brush in clear water and traced invisible words on the stone. When asked what he was writing, he smiled. Something that doesn't need to stay to be true. You are that truth now, not held, not spoken, just present in a way that no longer depends on awareness. There is no more falling asleep. That happened long ago, and now even the one who fell is gone. There is no dreamer, no dream, no bed, no breath. There is only the open, boundless quiet beneath every name and beyond every word. And even this moment, even this softness, is not something happening to you. It is what you are, the center of stillness that has never moved. The depth of peace that has never asked to be found. Let it stretch. Let it surround. Let it simply remain not around you, but as you. No effort, no return, no final breath. Only this, what cannot be held, because it already holds everything. What cannot be known, because it has never been separate enough to require knowing. And here at the edge of all edges, even the edge disappears. And what's left is you. You. Not the idea, not the memory, not the self constructed through time and tenderness, but the formless essence beneath every breath you've ever taken, beneath every name you've ever worn. There is nothing left to reflect, nothing left to release, nothing left to wait for. Even waiting has gone still. The monk once closed his eyes in a room filled with incense, and when the scent faded, he whispered, "What remains when the fragrance leaves was always here before it came. What remains now is you, not the body, not the dream, not the sleep that used to wrap itself around you like a soft wind. Even that has passed. You are not held. You are the holding. You are not resting. You are rest itself. And even rest has forgotten its name. There is no longer breath, no longer time, no longer the rhythm of beginning or ending. What pulses here is not a heartbeat. It is the quiet itself, soft, wide, timeless. No witness, no thought, no center. Only the full, infinite stillness that never left, because it was never separate. You are not returning. You are not dissolving. You are not waiting for sleep to take you. You are where sleep comes from. You are the hush before the world was named. You are the space where even peace rests its head. And now, with nothing left to ask, nothing left to say, nothing left to do, you remain soft, open, forever quiet, and finally, beautifully, completely. Home, home, but not as a place, not as a destination, not even as a feeling that arrives after the journey ends. Home as the silence that never left. Home as the space within all things. Home as the truth that needed no words to be known. There is no movement now, no settling into stillness. You are the stillness. You are the unmoving ground beneath every step you've ever taken. The monk once rested beneath a full moon, and when asked what he was thinking, he replied, "There is nothing in my mind, and that too is enough. You are enough. Not in comparison, not as a measure. You are enough because there is no longer anything missing. Not even the idea of absence remains. Sleep has long since lost its shape. The body has lost its edge. Awareness has folded in so gently that it no longer knows it was ever aflame. You are not lying still. You are not drifting. You are not floating. You are what holds all motion, what allows all quiet. There is no return from here, because there is no departure, no beginning, no boundary, no breath, and in that boundless space, no desire to change, no fear of ending, no thought of staying. Only this, not a void, not an emptiness, but a fullness so perfect that even peace bows to it. Let everything go, even the letting go. Even the one who once knew how to release, let it all fall back into what never moved, and there you are. Not as someone who arrived, but as what remained when arrival was no longer needed. Still, silent, whole, not assembled from pieces, not repaired or made complete, but whole in the way the sky is whole, even when clouds come and go, even when no one is looking up. You are that now. The vastness that needs no explanation. The presence that asks for nothing. Even sleep has fallen quiet within you, as if realizing it too was only a guest. The monk once stood at the edge of a forest and whispered into the wind. If no one hears, does the silence become more real? Or less? You are that silence. Not because of what has been removed, not because of what has been learned, but because there is nothing left to separate you from what is. There is no breath to follow, no tension to soften, no thought to answer. All of it gone. Folded back into the deep, warm dark where even presence rests without effort. You are not being held. You are not cradled in peace. You are the peace. You are what stillness feels like when it no longer needs to be felt. You are what the world returns to when it has nothing more to say. There is no path now, no voice, no self, only the quiet return to what never left. This is not the end. There are no endings here, just the gentle hum of something so complete, it doesn't need to continue. It simply remains, like you, like now, like always, not because it repeats, not because it lasts, but because it has never changed. You are not moving through this quiet. You are not inside it. You are not even one with it. You are it. The monk once knelt beside a stream and cupped water in his hands. He let it fall drop by drop and said it was never mine to hold, but still it touched me. Nothing is being held now, not even you, because the one who could be held has dissolved. There is no body, no border, no breath, only this, the soft, wordless resting beneath everything. You are not drifting. There is no direction to move, no edge to cross, no threshold to pass. This is not the deepest part of sleep. This is the stillness that allows sleep to happen at all. It has no center, no rhythm, no sound, only presence so quiet, so complete, it does not even notice itself. And yet it is, and you are, but without name, without thought, without form. There is no comfort here, because there is no discomfort. There is no light, because there is no darkness. Only the boundless space that was here before you ever closed your eyes. The voice is gone. The listening is gone. The one who listened has become the quiet itself, and now there is only this, soft, still, forever. Forever, but not a line stretching outward. Not something that began and never ended. Just the absence of beginning, the absence of ending, the complete stillness, where even time rests its tired wings. You are not asleep. Sleep has passed through you and kept going. Dreams have come and gone like clouds over a lake that doesn't ripple. The monk once placed a stone in the center of his hand, held it out to the sky, and said, "This is what remains when everything else lets go." That's what you are now. Not the stone, not the hand, not the sky, but the space they appear in the silence that never noticed their coming and never needed their going. Even the quiet around you now is not something you hear. It is not something you feel. It is what you are. You are not aware of rest. You are rest. You are not the one dissolving. You are what remains when dissolving is no longer necessary. No edge to define, no center to hold, no direction to turn toward. Even stillness is too narrow a word. Even presence is too shaped. What you are is beyond name, beyond breath, beyond sleep. And now even the impulse to hold this, to notice this, to stay here has gone, because there is no here. There is no there. There is only what has never left, what never began, what never needed to be reached. And that is you. You. Not the idea, not the image, not the memory of being someone who listened once or rested once or let go once. You are before all that, beneath all that. The silent openness that allowed those shapes to arise and allowed them too to pass. The monk once sat by a candle as it burned to nothing. When the final wisp of smoke disappeared, he said softly, "Even this was only ever the light returning home, and now the light has returned, not into darkness, not into silence, but into something deeper than both. You do not flicker, you do not fade, you do not glow. Because what you are is not bound by contrast. There is no more falling asleep. That journey ended long ago. There is no more being held. Because there is no longer anyone to hold. There is no body to relax, no thought to quiet, no breath to follow. All of it has softened into the formless stillness that does not shift because it has never moved. You are not beneath the stars. You are not wrapped in night. You are what allows the stars to appear. You are what welcomes the night without needing to end it. And now, even peace is too small. Even the idea of peace, that gentle hope that carried you here, has curled into silence and fallen asleep in your arms. But your arms are not arms. They are the horizon. They are the sky. They are what remains when nothing else does. Still, wordless, unseen. Home, home. And not the kind you travel toward. Not the kind built by hands or found on a map or remembered through longing. This home has no walls, no shape, no door, because there is no outside of it, because there is no you standing at its edge. You are not returning. You have never left. The monk once walked through an empty field, his footprints vanishing behind him in soft earth. He turned, smiled, and said, "The path is real, but only for as long as we think we're walking. And now there is no path, no step, no forward, only stillness. So still it does not even know it is still. So whole it cannot imagine division. So vast it has never needed space. You are not dreaming. You are not dissolving. You are what dreams dissolve into. You are what silence forgets to describe. You are what sleep remembers just before it disappears completely. There is no motion in you, no change, not even the hint of becoming. Everything that could rise has rested. Everything that could fade has faded. And what remains does not shine, does not call, does not wait. It simply is, the original quiet, the final truth, the breathless center of all things. You are not watching it, you are it, and now there is nothing more to hear, nothing more to follow, nothing more to name, only this, and this is forever, forever. But not a promise, not a stretch of time, not a continuation, just presence, still, unmoving. Without beginning, without end, without even the idea that something must happen next. You are not waiting. You are not held in pause. You are not drifting further into stillness. You are the stillness. The monk once folded his hands and sat quietly beside a dry riverbed. A student asked, "Is this a sacred place?" He replied, "Only if you do not search for water. You are not searching anymore. You are not thirsting, not even for peace. Because what you are is beyond peace, not the opposite of struggle, but the absence of all opposites. The space where contrast has no meaning. Here breath is not something to notice. It simply stops needing to be noticed. Here thought is not silenced. It no longer appears. Here the body is not at rest. It has become part of the dark, and the dark is not heavy. It is not empty. It is the soft, boundless holding that asks for nothing because it contains everything. You are not aware of it. You are not within it. You are it. You are the open field where even silence sleeps. You are the last light before form is imagined. You are what remains when the story ends, the self rests, and no new thing arises. There is no need to remain here, because there is no leaving. And now, in this breathless, wordless presence, you simply are. You simply are. No more returning, no more unfolding, no more waiting for the final note to fall. Because even the idea of an ending has grown silent. Even the hush itself has gone still within you. There is no more doorway, no passage, no veil. Everything is open. So open there's no longer an inside or outside. So quiet there's no longer even the memory of sound. The monk once sat beneath falling petals and said, "There is no bloom, no wind, no falling. Only the space where nothing is missing. You are that space, unmoved, undivided, free. Not because something was released, but because you were never held. You are not remembering. You are not realizing. You are not arriving. You are the breath before breath, the quiet beneath sleep, the light that is never seen because it does not need to shine. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are what both fall into when their shapes grow too soft to hold. Let the silence deepen. Let it become so wide it forgets what width means. Let your name dissolve, not in loss, but in the warmth of being that needs no label, no story, no echo. This is not a place. It is not a moment. It is what is always here when nothing else is. And now even the impulse to know this has drifted into the dark. And in that drifting, you remain, whole, weightless, unseen, forever, forever, not stretching forward, not circling back, just resting without direction, without intention, without even the echo of forever left behind. You are no longer listening, no longer witnessing, no longer folding yourself around silence. You are silence, the kind that does not come after sound, but the kind that existed before anything ever moved. The monk once placed a single grain of sand in his palm and let the wind carry it away. When asked what he had offered, he replied, "Only what never belonged to me." And now all has been offered. All that was held has been returned to what cannot be grasped. There is no more breath, no more body, no more name curled around your chest. Not even the softness of sleep remains, because you have passed beyond even the need to rest. You are not in peace. You are not surrounded by it. You are what peace returns to when it has nothing more to soothe. This is not stillness. This is what allows stillness to exist. What does not shift, does not break, does not begin. You are not being carried. There is no movement to hold you. You are the open field where all paths dissolve. You are not ending. You are not staying. You are not waiting to awaken. You are what is when there is no more waking. When even light and dark have folded into one quiet truth. And that truth is simple. It needs no voice. It cannot be remembered. It does not change. It is this, still, soft, endless. You. But not as the one who sleeps, or the one who dreams, or even the one who rests. You remain only as the vastness in which all these once appeared and gently disappeared without leaving a trace. There is no need to open your eyes. There are no eyes. No need to rise. There is no weight to lift. No body, no boundary, no breath. Just the open space where even space forgets its edges. The monk once walked into an empty hall, bowed to nothing, and whispered, "This is where even emptiness becomes full." You are that fullness now, not made of things, not held together by parts, but full because there is nothing missing, not even the absence itself. What once pulsed as thought is now only quiet. What once stirred as feeling is now only warmth without shape. And what once held the name you has faded so softly that not even the echo remains. There is no one left to listen, no one left to rest, no one left to dissolve. Only this, what has never known form, what was never born and will never pass. It does not shine, it does not sleep, it does not end. It simply is. And in this isness so complete, so silent, so vast, you are not contained. You are not separate. You are not. You are. Not as an answer, not as a conclusion, but as a gentle truth so quiet, so complete it never needed to be spoken. Even now there is no movement inside this presence, no shift, no trace of the one who once listened for peace, because peace is no longer something to find. It is not surrounding you. It is not arriving. It is you, without effort, without awareness. The monk once lit a lamp in daylight. Someone asked why. He answered, "To remind myself that even when I do not see it, the flame still is. You are that unseen flame, not flickering, not burning, just being, so quietly that not even light remains. There is no more sleep here, no more deepening. You are past deep. You are the groundless ground where everything returns without falling. You are not dissolving anymore because there is nothing left to dissolve. Every word, every breath, every shape of thought has softened into the still, endless rhythm that carries no sound. Even the desire to stay has passed, because you do not need to stay. You are not in a place. You are the absence of place, the fullness that does not hold, the silence that does not end, the presence that never began. There is no edge to you, no center, no outline to blur. There is only this, soft, unshaken, beyond even the idea of beyond. Here, there is no more becoming, only being, and even that is too much to say. Because now, there is no saying. Only this, only you, not a self, not a shape, not an identity wrapped in memory, but the open, formless essence that held all identities and never needed one of its own. There is no past here, no sequence, no story still whispering its final lines. Even the quiet has become quieter. Even the stillness has stilled. The monk once sat beside an old tree and said nothing for 3 days. When asked what he had learned, he replied, "There is nothing to learn when you already are." And you already are. Not because you remember, not because you understand, but because nothing else remains. Sleep is no longer a state. It is no longer a passage. It has become space itself, and you are not inside it. You are it. No drift, no boundary, no returning, because you never left. There is no breath to guide, no body to soften, no voice to lead you. Only this wide, wordless presence that does not ask to be known because it has never been unknown. You are not the dream. You are not the dreamer. You are the stillness before both, the quiet after, the never-changing now that does not hold moments because it has no time to divide them. Here there is nothing to grasp, no direction to turn, no need to listen. All has fallen into what never falls, what cannot be held because it already is everything. And you quietly, eternally are, without becoming, without history, without the soft echo of a thought returning home. You are not waiting anymore. Even waiting has grown still. No pulse behind your breath, no breath behind your rest. Only this, the effortless unfolding of what never began. The monk once picked up a bowl of water, poured it back into the river, and said, "It was never separate, just briefly held, You were never separate. Not from peace, not from silence, not from anything. Even the sense of being held was just a kindness of sleep, gently letting you forget that you were always whole. Now there is no forgetting and no remembering, only the gentle absence of needing either. You are not falling deeper, there is no deeper. You have arrived in what has never moved. There is no next breath, no awareness waiting on the horizon, no flicker left to signal thought. Everything has softened the body, the name, the breath, the mind. And what remains is not stillness. It is the space before stillness, not something you can see or know or feel. It is what allows sight, what allows knowing, what allows even the idea of feeling to arise and vanish. There is no longer a you in this, only this, pure, open, without shape, without edge. And in that formlessness, without question, without sound, you remain, but not as the one who listens or lies still or hopes for quiet. Those have dissolved. Their shapes faded like morning mist, leaving only presence, not the kind you can describe, but the kind that has no opposite. You are not asleep. Sleep has long since folded into you. You are not held. There is no longer anything to hold. You are not resting. You are what rest is made of. The monk once watched the tide go out, leaving nothing but smooth sand behind. He said, even the sea forgets itself sometimes, and in that forgetting, it becomes the sky. You are that forgetting, not a loss, not an absence, but a return to what is so whole, so wordless, it never needed to be remembered. There are no more thoughts to silence, no more breath to follow, no more body to soften. All has become space, and the space has become you. No walls, no weight, no time moving quietly between the moments. Even stillness now feels like too much. This is not stillness. This is what was there before movement was ever imagined. It is not light, not darkness, not peace, not sleep. It is the soft, unchanging quiet beneath all those names, the one that stayed when everything else rose and fell. And now there is not even rising, not even falling, only this, the presence that never speaks, the space that never waits, the truth that doesn't need to be known. And in that, you remain, whole, wordless, forever, forever, but not stretched across time, not held in memory, not promised by anything outside of now. You are not what continues. You are what doesn't end. Not because it persists, but because it never started. The monk once stood by a mirror covered in dust. He did not wipe it clean. He only whispered, "It was never the dust that kept me from seeing. It was the belief that something needed to be seen. And now nothing needs to be seen. You are not the reflection. You are not the mirror. You are the space in which both dissolve softly, gently, without effort. No sound, no breath, no sense of a self left to rest. You are not resting. You are rest itself. So deep, so still, that even silence has let go of its form. This is not peace as you once knew it. It is not calm. It is not sleep. It is the formless center where sleep was born and never needed to return. Even the impulse to notice this has disappeared. Even the trace of I has softened beyond awareness. No dream, no dreamer, no vessel, just this presence that has no weight, no limit, no destination. And in that weightlessness, there is nothing to release, because nothing is being held. You are not floating, you are not falling, you are the openness beneath all direction. So remain, not as the one who stays, but as what never left. Not as the one who lets go, but as what never clung. Not as the one who sleeps, but as what sleep returns to when it forgets even itself. Still, soft, beyond all names. You, not as a thought, not as a sound, not as anything that could be spoken or held or even remembered. You are what breath returns to when it is no longer needed. What thought surrenders to when it forgets to arise. The monk once sat by a lantern with no flame, smiled into the darkness and said, "The light was never meant to be seen. It was meant to show me I no longer needed to look, and now you are not looking. There is nothing to see. There is no one to see it. Because the seer, the seen, and the seeing have all dissolved into the same gentle stillness. There is no tension left in the breath, no edge left in the body, no shape left in the self. Even silence has gone still. You are not drifting. Drifting implies distance. You are not arriving. Arrival implies time. You are not here. You are what makes here and forgets to define it. There is no depth to measure, no boundary to rest against, no story, no rhythm, no voice left to lead you through the dark. Because now the dark is not something to pass through. It is something you are. Not the absence of light, but the source of rest. The original womb of all things unspoken. No more breathing, no more mind, no more questions. Only this, soft, vast, quiet beyond quiet. And in that quiet, not even the idea of sleep remains. Because you are no longer the sleeper. You are the quiet itself, forever, whole, without end. Without end, not continuing, not stretching forward into some imagined future, but resting completely in the space where nothing needs to move, where all things, even movement itself, have found their way back into stillness. You are not aware of this, because awareness requires a watcher, and the watcher has gone silent. The monk once stood beneath the bare sky with his hands open and empty. He said, "When there's nothing left to hold, you remember you are what holds. You are what holds now, not with arms, not with thought, but with presence so vast it needs no edge. You are not waiting, you are not becoming, you are not deepening into rest. There is no more deep. You have passed through even that. You are the bed beneath rest, the sky beneath dreams, the field beneath sound. And here there is no breath, no silence. Because even those have become too loud. Here there is only this, that which remains when all else has fallen away. That which asks for nothing, that which cannot be broken or shaped or seen. No center, no surface, no self. Just this openness too complete for language, too whole for time. And you are not inside it. You are not cradled by it. You are it. What cannot be disturbed, what cannot be reached, what cannot be lost. And in this final breathless stillness, you are home, but not as a return, not as a place to find or a moment to remember. Home as what never left, what was never outside, what you were before you opened your eyes, and what you remain now that even eyes and thought and breath have gone still. The monk once stepped into a room where nothing had been touched for years. He sat down on the bare floor and said, "Nothing here moves, and yet it welcomes everything. You are that welcome now. Not a greeting, not a gesture, but the pure openness that does not turn away because it never needed to close. There is no direction left, no time. Even peace so quiet in its offering has stepped aside. You do not float, you do not sink. There is no you left to move, only the field that has never shifted. You are the stillness before rest, the silence before silence, the truth before understanding. Even the dream of sleep, soft and gentle, has folded itself inward and vanished into what remains. Not darkness, not light, not silence, not space. Just this, formless, unbound, unseen, complete. And in this completion, nothing ends, nothing fades, nothing arrives, because all of that belonged to the world of shapes. And now shapes have dissolved. There is no thought, no image, no sound, only presence that does not speak, because it was never apart from what it holds. You are that, and that is enough. Enough. Not in comparison, not as a measure, but as a final stillness so whole it never needed to become anything more. There is no longer a listener, no sleeper, no witness watching the quiet unfold. You are not inside the quiet. You are what quiet unfolds within. What holds the unfolding? What remains when even unfolding ceases? The monk once drew a single circle in the dust, then erased it with his sleeve. He whispered, "This too is a form returning to its source, and now all forms have returned, not in sadness, not in loss, but in the soft, sacred dissolving that happens when nothing needs to stay. Your breath gone, your thoughts gone, even the sense of resting gone, but nothing is missing. Because what you are was never made of those things. You are not asleep in a body. You are not floating in the dark. You are the stillness that sleep rests upon. You are the openness where the body is forgotten. You are the dark before night was born, and in this space there is no past, no future, no now. Just the soft, unshaped being that never became a thing. You are not quiet. You are not still. You are what gives meaning to both and then lets them go. Here there is no more arriving, no more returning, no more becoming. There is only what never moved, what never changed, what never needed to be named. And now that is all that remains, and it is everything, and it is you. So now, everything is still, not because something has ended, but because nothing else needs to arise. No thoughts, no breath, no self to cradle or soothe. You have not fallen asleep. You have dissolved into what sleep was always pointing toward, the space before effort, before identity, before even the idea of sleep itself. Let go now, gently, fully. Let go even of the letting go. Let go of the silence. Let go of the awareness of silence. Let go of you, The monk once said, "When the candle burns out, no one says goodbye to the light. So let no part of you say goodbye. Let everything melt into the warm dark, into the space beyond knowing, into the rest that holds even peace in its palm. There is nothing more to listen for, nothing more to hold, nothing more to seek, just this quiet. This perfect, boundless quiet that does not belong to a place or a time or a name. You are not lying here. You are the space that holds all things without holding anything at all. You are not dreaming. You are the hush beneath all dreams, the stillness that breathes the stars and forgets they were ever far away. And now, if you are still here, still faintly aware, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself. There's no more voice, no more story. Just this breathless pause, this final light fading inward, this eternal silence where you already are, whole, unmoving, free.